Yo, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Smite OCL. My name is Lath. I'm joined here on the desk by Chompy. How are we, Chompy?
Yo, I'm good. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, thank you, Chompy. Straight into the weekend, straight on the beers. Love to see it. We're going to be bringing just one set here today. Unfortunately, the other set has had a little bit of an issue, but we will be bringing Married Men versus the Crimson Knights. If Chompy just wants to run us through a little bit about the other set, Threats versus La Bomba.
Yeah, sure. As a threats member myself, I feel I can talk about it a little bit. We had a few complications with the game this week, so there's a bit of scheduling between captains that goes on to when we can play the games, but we do have a default time that happens on a Sunday. So basically, between Threats and La Bomba, they decided to play default time, which is totally fine. That happens. We were there to play. But unfortunately, as we came to default time, one or two of their, I think two of their players couldn't make it. So we had a bit of a complication getting them online. So by the time we rolled around to that game start deadline, they actually weren't online to play the game, which resulted in us going up 1-0 in the set. But before the deadline hit for the second game, they made it online. They had 5 people. It was with 2 subs, but the game was a bit of a it was just a really short game and a bit of a mess with the whole how the set went down with the default timings and things like that. The team not showing up, so we thought best just because we are trying to get these games out to you and we have semi-limited amount of casters who are available all the time. We thought it was just easier to maybe skip that one, as it was just a really quick 17-minute 1-0 win to Threats. So I guess we can start by saying this week, when we look at the standings and stuff, Threats have won their set 2-0 against La Bomba this week.
Yeah, very well said, Jumpy. Thanks for that. As Jumpy just said, yep, 202 threats. A little bit of miscommunication there. Luckily though, we do still have Married Men versus Crimson Knights, and this is my set. I would like to go on record to say it's hella cringe. If we could please get some more casters, anyone, if you want to have a crack, just message Gangster Sexy, message me, even if you want, just message someone on the admin team and put your name up because it would be good just to have some more people. We're going to be doing the casting differently now. Games will be played whenever they're played, and then the following week on the Friday and the Saturday, roughly 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we will be doing the casts. So 2 sets on Friday, 2 sets on Saturday. Nice and simple. Everyone knows when they're going to be. The casters know when they're going to be. We know when we need people. So anyone want to get their hands in, have a go, just message someone, get on board. But
Also,
any
to add on to that as well, casting's super easy. You don't have to be a main caster as well. You can always just be the secondary one to sit there just to have that second person. You don't need to know all the ability names and stuff like that. You don't even have to have a good opinion. There's a reason I'm here. I have shocking smart opinions, but it's just a voice to be had. You don't have to feel like you're going to be undervalued or anything like that. Just anyone who wants to help out, I think it's good to go.
Yeah, and that's a damn good voice you got there, Chompy.
I've heard we do sound alike, laugh, so
Yeah, it's gonna be a
that's a
bit
bit of
awkward
a
listening to
confidence booster
us.
for yourself. But
I completely forgot that people say that. Someone said it to me. I was like, "What?" But
I hear it
anyway,
sometimes. But anyway.
I am left. That is Chompy, and we're gonna get straight on into set the night of Merry Men vs Crimson Knights.
Yeah, so I think we'll firstly look at the teams. First up, we have your opponents left, Married Men. I don't know if this is the roster that played on the night, if there's any subs or anything, but this is their main roster here, the 5 names we're seeing here. Pretty
That is
strong
the
team, I
correct.
think. Oh, it is? Sweet.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them kind of stuck together from last season. I know Flix was started on this team, but pretty hectic ended the season. So this is pretty strong team. We've had lots of team chemistry here. A lot of big names, old names as well. I feel like it's a pretty well balanced roster, and yeah, they're definitely in the competition as we've seen so far.
Yeah. As you said, following on from last season, they came third last season in the finals, which is very impressive. It's a good effort from a team that had only just formed at the start of that season. Yeah, a lot of old names. Um, Maybe a sort of new name of Adler's. I'm not too sure. I mean, everyone knows Adler's been around for ages. I'm not too sure about his uh him being in the Smite competitive scene. Most handsome man in Smite OCE, may I add. Um, But yeah, I think the really good thing about this team, I've said it for ages, is that their team chemistry is just above most other teams right now. You know, even if like they weren't individually great players, which they actually all are, they play really well together, and that makes them a pretty formidable team.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah, up there again this season too. I feel like the league as a whole is a lot closer. There's a lot of teams kind of on the same amount of points in that kind of third to fifth position, I think it is. But this is a big week. I think Crimson Knights and Married Men are actually coming in on the same points this week. So definitely a close game, and it'll be an exciting one if we can head over to the Crimson Knights team. These are the boys they were versing. So once again, another star-studded lineup. Lots of household names, common names. You've got season one winner Nuxel in mid lane, as well as some big names like Abs Pro, who's been around in the region forever. And as we've mentioned, Laugh on the cast joining me here. Some star-studded lineup here.
Yeah, that's doing us in the jungle. Yeah, that guy. I mean, I think if we want to talk about the best players on this team, we got to look at that coach role, right? We got to look at Yada. He's really the one carrying this team right now. And all the progression that the Knights have made really can go straight back to the coach. The amount of time that he puts in is just above and beyond. So got to make sure that we give a shout out to him. But yeah, good team. Very happy with these
Look at
guys.
that insider knowledge you get, huh? You don't get that unless you have Laugh on the cast, you know? Yada
Yeah,
pulling the strings behind the scenes. He's been a big part of the OCL, I think, as a whole. Even though I don't think he's ever really played in it. He's just kind of always been around. He's always been there to help out. So definitely shout out to Yada.
yeah, shout out the homie. He has played. I will note he's played
He
with
has.
me on the chickens. Yeah.
Oh, of course, the Smite Chickens. How could I
Yes. Yeah.
forget?
Yeah. He played in the second half of season two on the chickens, and he also played the second half of last season for 718. Or he
There you
may
go.
just played finals, maybe just that. So
I'm just
he likes to sneak into a team and kick someone out right at the end of the season. So expect to see Nuxel gone for finals.
that cheeky bugger Yada. Yeah, maybe I'm just washed in the community. I don't know as much as I thought, but with the two teams out of the way, I think can we quickly go to the standings? Is that possible? Just to see before this game starts, because I think these, like I mentioned, yeah, three teams there in third, and then two teams on sixth behind them. Very close table coming out here. So as mentioned as well, Threats La Bomba has played as well, so that would now be 5-1 for Threats and 0-6 for La Bomba. But really looking at this middle of the table here, apart from By Gravity Finance, we got a third place playoff right now, Lath.
Yeah, we do. We do. Three teams all vying for that coveted third position. By Gravity versing, I think. Who are they versing this week? Crusader?
Oh, well, we can check
Ah,
it out. He's
look at
ready.
this. Look at this. How handy is this? Yeah, so it is the Jacked
They're
Martin versus
versing the
Corrupted Crusaders, which will
Pie.
be tomorrow.
Mm,
Pi versus Gravity. That's an interesting one actually. As you said, you on the threats have just beaten La Bomber, and you're now tied with Pi in regards to wins, but they do have their
that is
set to
true.
play. And I think By Gravity could be a sneaky one to maybe shoehorn in for a win there. They have been up and up in the last couple of weeks, as you can see in the standings. 2 1s, 2 0s in there. So I think that's going to be a very interesting set. I'm excited to see that one tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, they're
But
definitely on the way up, but I've got my eyes on the corrupted Crusaders down there. As you saw today, as you saw just then, Jack Martins are going to be versing corrupted Crusaders, who are battling out for that final spot in finals, that sixth place spot there. And then a big last week. I think if they win this game against BGF, they're going to be chilling for that game 7. They might be trolling a little bit. I think corrupted Crusaders can come in week 7 and really fight for that sixth place spot.
could
So.
be a sneaky one in, you
We'll
reckon? Make
see.
it
I
into
think that's a
finals.
good way. I think there's a lot of big matchups this week. I feel like Married Men, Crimson Knights fighting in there, and then you've got Jack Martins and Corrupted Crusaders. That's a battle for third and a battle for sixth. That is very exciting. So a big week on this week in the Smite OCL.
We've got a proper barn fire on our hands, is what I'm hearing right now, Chompy.
Oh, and you better be excited. Now I am. If
Oh,
I'm
well, you better
excited,
believe I
everyone
am
else should
too.
be. Because I don't even know my own team name half the time. So if I'm this excited, that's great. But I think we're good to we might as well hop into these ones, eh? Let's get into some picks and bans. If we're ready. Have I jumped ahead? I'm sorry if I
Nope,
have.
I hope not.
But while we're waiting for it, any insight to what Yada did to prepare for this kind of game?
Yeah, I do believe Yada's notes for this team was we can let the Anubis through. I
Anubis,
do,
wow, not a
I
god you
do,
see often. I don't know if that's a
I
bit of foreshadowing or
no, I do believe half played Anubis twice last week against oh god, who did they verse?
I was away last week, so I've not seen any of the games.
I cannot for the life of me remember who it is that they verse, but he played Anubis twice.
Anubis jungle, interesting.
Anyway, straight into it. I just realized we have bands going. Carly
Yeah,
and Zhonghui banned by the Knights. Raven banned by the men.
yeah, kind of what I expected coming into this week. These are the kind of bands you've been seeing this most recent patch that we've had. Obviously, by the time we're recording now, there's a new patch out, Karen, being released. But the patch that these were played on, these are the standard-ish kind of bans you'd see. There's about 10 gods that you can really ban in this first six, so you'll just be seeing different combinations of it. But yeah, the Kali and Raven going early, and still Rama's going strong.
Well, we can see that both teams have had Carly banned against them in their top six bans against, so not too surprising. Same as the Marty, which goes not a lot of teams happy to let Marty through from second pick. So I'm not surprised really to see the men have banned that there.
Yeah, it's
You know,
always a good band, but I actually personally think I've seen him dropping off a fair bit. I've seen him getting through some games, picks and bans entirely, to be honest. But like a big priority
It
pick
is
has been
time
Baba
for
Yaga,
some
which has been left open, and it's
fireworks!
a very quick lock from your team, the Crimson Knights.
yeah, Baba Yaga, very good right now, apparently. I know personally I hate it. I can't stand dealing with it. It's
Not a
so
fun one to
annoying to
verse.
kill. Yeah, she stacks prophetic cloak so easily because of that passive. I think that's one of the strongest things about her. You know, prophetic, not the easiest item to stack, but really good when you
I will
make it
leave
to that fully
standing
evolved
no
state with the
barrier to
mitigation
our
as
success.
Ganesh Anher
Warriors,
traded
to
on the other
battle!
side.
Yeah, definitely a strong duo lane, and it's always good to get your duo lane feeling strong. You can tell that's a bit of a pressure lane. Like Ganesha might be a little bit passive, but I think Arnher can really tire him over that first
You'll
little
never defeat me!
early game hump. But yeah, Baba Yaga is just that kind of god who just never dies, but does so much damage too with that prophetic being so easily stacked and things like that. But another god, which I assume might be going into your hands there, the
You
Erlang
are
Shen, he's been
finished!
rising up in popularity recently, followed by an Achilles.
Yeah, I think both Erlang and Achilles. I've been seeing a lot of play right now. Achilles kind of good because he does have that strong flex potential. Even some teams are flexing the Erlang. I've seen a couple of Erlang solos.
The law
I
returns
do
to
think his
this
place
land.
is in the jungle. He brings a lot of CC to the team, a lot of survivability, really good team fight. And Tier on the other side, I've been seeing a lot of the Adler's Tier in my games as of late.
Yeah, I mean, Tier's always a strong god. Like with the stun on his ult now, he's very strong. He's not necessarily top tier, but he's definitely finds his place onto any team really well. So always a good pick. And if he's comfortable on it, if he's playing it a lot, why not? I think an interesting god we've seen slip through is the Jormungandr. From my knowledge, not knowing a lot about solo lane, Jormungandr's pretty good into Achilles. So I feel like, yeah, it's an interesting kind of pick that to go to the wayside. I feel like Jormungand has been at the top of a lot of drafts recently, but maybe these two teams just don't really prioritize it too much.
Well, actually, Achilles is generally picked as a counter pick into that
Oops.
Jormungandr. As once you're into that threshold, you got to remember with the Achilles, with the slight buff he got recently, it's a 35% execute now, which means effectively that giant snake's only got 65% health. And the second that
Let the hunt
that
begin.
execute symbol appears on that Jormungandr, you're toast. You cannot get into the ultimate before Achilles lands that fatal strike. So
Gotcha. You just need to say that my solo laner is complaining for no reason. Good to know.
yes, he is. As Artemis picked, so it is a double hunter comp from Married Men. Shibalunke Atlas on the side of the Knights.
Death comes
It's
by
funny because I don't
night.
remember a lot of a lot of this draft. I remember
Your
what I versed.
burdens
I
not
don't remember
hold
what
you
we
back.
played. The Atlas is questionable from me. Um,
That's your team, man.
yeah, I know. I don't remember
wise
the talk at the
choice.
time about the. I mean, there's the Anubis. As
Wow.
as we did say, half had been playing. Apparently, half doesn't rate the assassins right now, according to his team, and he's really enjoying the Anubis, and it's a lot of what he's been playing. So we weren't too surprised to see the Anubis get through here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, didn't see last week, but if he's been playing this a lot, there is some good things that it does. Has a lot of high burst damage. If you're confident enough to stay alive on it, why not run the Anubis? But I do actually like Atlas as a god. Maybe not in this comp, maybe I don't know. But as a god, I definitely think he brings a lot to the table and can be a good pick as we go straight into the game now. Just quickly dashing back to Married Men, now that it isn't on her mid, not as much duo lane pressure as I thought, but they probably still have the advantage against an Atlas Shiboanke.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that is. You are correct. The Anho going to mid means that there really isn't a great deal of pressure there. As far as lane clear goes, it's not fantastic for the Married Men duo lane, but it is a lot of good kill pressure.
yeah, definitely something they can just look to take the fight, get in early. I don't really see where else on the map this game's really going to do anything. I feel like both Tyr and Achilles will live forever. Um, and both Anher and Baba Yaga are very safe in the mid lane, so maybe duo lane could be a point of contention. We'll never know until we get more into the game, but pretty standard starts coming out here so far, at least.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything out of the ordinary. Have seen a couple of different hunter starts from the Married Men. You know, one going for the Death Soul, the other one going for the Ornate Arrow. As I'm pretty sure the arrow generally goes into crit. A lot of people are upgrading it to. No, Gilded Arrow is the standard, isn't it? And then they upgrade to Ornate Arrow with the Deathbringer for the crit. The
Yep.
Death Toll on Anher, I'm assuming he probably sells. Is
Yeah,
that
to be
correct?
honest, Hunter is in a really good spot where even though our normal base 5 items haven't changed, we have a choice of 2 starters, which is really new and unique for hunters. But yeah, most of the time, to be honest, even with an arrow, I personally sell it all the time. I'm not really keeping my starter a lot. You definitely can, if you do have crit, go for that ornate arrow, like you said. And also, Death's Temper is still pretty strong as well. So I think it's more down to just preference between what you want to do. If you want to sell it, if you want to keep it, it's more just how the game's going and how you're feeling, really. But like we mentioned, Married Men getting that first shield buff, some little early pressure in this lane. It looks like mids are trading on each side over there, so yeah, pretty standard so far. Actually, Half Guy's on a bit of a flank here with the Anubis.
Yeah, the Anubis taken the long way around, and I don't know if that was sniffed out or maybe it's just because the shield buff was finished before he got into a position. But it looks like the duo lane for Crimson Knights will back away. Shield buff obtained on the left, cooldown buff obtained for the Knights on the right. So pretty even start here for both teams.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just a little too long on that rotation there, going the long route because that shield buff did fall. But yeah, like this pressure in mid is going to be insane, and Anher's really going to have the pressure early over a Baba Yaga. As you can see him jumping in there, those hunters get a really big advantage early game in mid, and with an Anubis too, those bastions are going to be bursted down pretty quickly.
Yeah, you got to think that they're clear between that little 2v2 is a lot better on the side of Married Men. You know, you got the mage for the main clear. You've got the Anho. Obviously, that impale does do a fair bit of damage to the wave, but then it also his auto attacks with that Death's Toll is going to keep him nice and healthy. Plus, he can just kind of stand as far up as he wants. Anho relatively safe. You know, he's got that leap to get away. He's also got the Sand Pillar, which slows by a fair amount. So it should be pretty easy to navigate the early game here.
Yeah, even when he does hit level 5 as well, CC immune ult, a knockback as well if he's in massive trouble. But yeah, like it's a very safe hunter. It's always been a big part about Anhurst as a guide. He's always been relatively safe, good to have in lane. So yeah, they can definitely maybe just try and run this mid lane a little bit and get this Anubis really fed for that late game when he's absolutely swanging.
Yeah, I'm keen to see how it is that they decide to play the late game. As Merriman does have a lot of burst here for objectives as well. You know, you've got the double hunter, which has always been notoriously good for taking out objectives, but you throw an Anubis Death Gaze in there, and you should be shredding through Gold Fury's Fire Giants relatively easy. So I think Crimson Knights probably need to stay on the ball with their wards and their map awareness.
Yeah, Ganesh ult too is no stranger to getting an objective down really quick.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the best way to use it, but it's definitely helps that cause. But on the other side too, Atlas ult is actually pretty decent at helping out with these objectives too. So some big ults across the board. I think, yeah, like you said, Married Men probably have an easier time with these objectives. I think Beacon play will be very interesting come the 12-minute mark because that is not an objective, you know, that you have to burn down. It's one based on more of that sustained play, but with an Anubis who can just be pumping damage in over that beacon, it could be a tough one for Crimson Knights to really hold down.
Yeah, that is a great point. I won't lie, a bit of insider knowledge. I now remember during Picks and Bans, they said, I think it was Jed maybe said he's going to pick the Atlas because we knew that they'd pick the Anubis in that last slot. So he said if he ults, I'm just going to put my ult on top of him. I do believe that that was something said.
It's actually not that bad of a matchup. Like, he's got the slow, he's got the pull that he can do. Obviously, Anubis can immune the knockback or knock up, whatever it is, knock up and back. But it's not the worst. I feel like there's better gods to do it, but Atlas still has his part to play. But if you're going to focus too much on the Anubis, these double hunters may just get a bit too far ahead and start swinging. But if that is something you were really nervous about, like I said, didn't watch the week before. If Half Guy was kind of running games on this Anubis, definitely could be worth to try and put him down.
Yeah, the Anubis has made his way over towards the cooldown buff. Looks like he was able to secure it. Both junglers here in solo lane. Not a lot going on right here. The boys can do is the scuffle's starting to form in the mid lane too, but again, looks like it's not really going to amount to anything. It feels like both teams have picked relatively hard to kill drafts.
Yeah, there's some tanky teams going on here, and like you saw with the Anubis, as soon as he got that cooldown buff, or he tried to get the cooldown buff, I think it actually went the way of Crimson Knights, but oh, never mind, I can't see. The icon looked like it was Crimson Knights. Anyway, he's looking to just farm and run away. It doesn't really look like he's trying to do a lot, which is definitely the smart thing to do. Just get his build online. He's getting that Doom Orb for that early movement speed, but yeah, really tanky team comps. Erlang and Baba Yaga are very good at staying alive. Ooh, scratch that. Bit of aggression out here onto Pretty Hectic. He's going to have to force the ult for ult trade there, but Artemis ult probably more beneficial to have than a Shibalanke ult, even though that global blind is very strong.
Yeah, I'd probably say that the Knights are feeling a little bit better about losing their ultimate for the Artemis ult. You're right, that global blind is very good, especially in a team fight, any sort of scuffle, but that Artemis ult is just an insta-kill machine. Like, Flix is in so much danger as long as that ultimate's up. Shibalanke does have a CC immune dash. It doesn't go CC immune until halfway through the dash, though. And by that time, the Tuskie's probably already hit you, so I do think that they're feeling pretty good about getting rid of the hog there.
Yeah, definitely a great Artemis is definitely a good one-on-one hunter when all abilities are up and things like that. So a Shibalanke can survive in lane without his ult a lot more than a Artemis will be able to. But like to be honest, a lot of these ults will be back up before any big team fights. But scratch that, and early beads out from the Anubis gank there. Getting the ultimate down as well though from Flix. Sorry, Flix got Half Guy's ultimate down there, but there's a trade back out. The Ganesha ult and the Atlas ult coming out. These big support ults coming through. Stoinis gonna chase him down. Oh, you're gonna chase him down, but to no avail there. Everyone's gonna get out safely for this team.
Yeah, I do like the fact that Cameraman Redacted pointed out the 9-turns blessing still active for the Erlang Shen after it went off.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought I saw it. That's why I thought he beads, but I was like, he's got blink. I'm just gonna, I don't know.
You did see it. Yep, it activated. It didn't come out. I can't remember if it's this set, but I swear there was a point where I ulted about 4 times and it never came out.
Right, I to be honest, I thought I saw it. That's why I was freaking out. But no, nothing news there really. So cooldowns are up for the next fight at least, huh? That looks at the positives.
Yeah, that's the important bit. I'm pretty sure that was the talk, as Half has just made an instant rotation back over Shibalanke ult, but I think that was Tusky came out and Jed does go down first blood towards PH. 8 minutes into the game. Bit of a slow one so far, but the double gank, no one ever suspects it there. As ultimate's used, good silence from the Ganesh. It looks like the Baba Yaga is in a bit of danger. Nuxel will go down. Abs has made the rotation. Fatal Strike a little bit out of range, and Invictus doing his best just to body block here, and it's a good little grab there. I cannot remember the name of the Ganesh 3.
I will not be able to tell you that either, but honestly, really strong start there from Married Men. Like you said, it had been a bit of a slow game, 8 minutes in with no real kills, but as you alluded to as well, Half Guy kind of camping a little bit around this duo lane, trying to get that extra pressure out there for their Artemis to really get that strong lead. And with the ult coming back up after that shield buff fight, Jed was just free pickings there. You know, obviously support most likely not going to have beads or anything like that, so good enough damage to get him killed. And then straight away, Nuxel dies there trying to help save Stoinis, who lived on very low HP, but then unfortunately Baba Yaga just too far forward in that house there and gonna fall in the process. But really good peel there from Invictus, honestly, to keep Rex alive.
Yeah, remove obstacles is, I do believe, is the name of the ability that
Ah,
was used to get apparently Abs himself was the obstacle as Invictus decides to remove it from Rex's path. And yeah, really good peel. I think a lot of teams are starting to value this Ganesh a lot more in OCE, and I think it's just kind of because of that. You know, with a lot of people starting to play these double hunter comps, you don't need a great deal out of your support. You just need some simple, easy setup CC and a bit of peel. And a lot of teams really starting to realize that as half goes, Abs goes down to a rotation from half, and half making a bit of an impact here early on the Anubis.
yeah, he's getting a lot of value out of it. I think two things I want to point out, but I'll start with the Abs, not Abs, bro, half guy on the Anubis. If he doesn't get anything out of these rotations, he would be pretty useless. So he's getting a bit lucky to actually get stuff out of these rotations. I think that could be a big part. Obviously, looking forward into other games, if teams have wards out and are ready for these ganks, I feel like he'd spend a lot of time in a bit of dead lands like that. But, you know, he's able to pick up these kills, 1 kill, 1 assist now. He's got a level up, or maybe half a level it will probably be. But something about the Ganesha especially, he did have to use the shell as well though, obviously, so just very good peel from Invictus. But Ganesha is the kind of god who I love having a Ganesha on my team every single game. Like, I think his silence is so good, his knock-up is really good, but if a Ganesha gets behind, that god becomes like turbo useless and does absolutely nothing. So it's really important for Invictus to kind of try and keep ahead of the game, maybe even stay on level with the enemy team, and that's when you get the most value out of Ganesha.
Yeah, that is a great point. As it looks, is that the way the buff works? Okay, yep, yeah. Adler's managed to secure his own buff. But yeah, great point. I mean, the thing with Ganesh is that his main real hard CC is that remove obstacles. It is that dash. So if you're behind and you're dashing into an enemy team to use your CC on a single target, it is going to put you in a really bad position. So completely understand why you think that is. It looks like Gold Fury is started this shred comp coming out.
Anubis ult, 2 hunters.
Yeah, and as you said, Dharmic Pillars as well. That Gold Fury is toast.
No chance to get around that. One little rotation there from you over into that blue buff, and the team Married Men smart enough to know they can just make that rotation over, and with their team comp this early on being able to burst it so quickly, why not play those objectives? They're 3 kills up now as well, and we've seen a 3k gold lead already. Pretty hectic having to use the ult there just to survive the 2-on-1, but no harm, no foul. His team gets out.
He did trade the Atlas ult for that, which is pretty good for Madman considering the fact the Stygian Beacon is up, but at the same time, Nixel Snoinus both made the rotation up. They're sitting on this beacon. It will go the way of the other side of the Crimson Knights. It's not the worst trade in the world there.
Should I say
is on cooldown.
Stoinus, or should I say you?
You just say Stoinus.
Right. But yeah, no. the Crimson Knights, whilst weren't fast enough to get there for the Gold Fury, they did show face enough that the Married Men probably felt like they had to back out there, using a lot of their ults and things like that, using the jungler and support ult on the Gold Fury. So kind of a free beacon there to trade. Obviously, you probably would prefer gold, but beacon's still definitely something you want to take there while you can. So good from Crimson Knights to kind of play the map a little bit and get what they can when they can. With this Pyromancer probably going to be the next big objective that's coming up.
Yeah, Blink available for half in solo lane. Adler's unfortunately can't find anything. Abs Pro too clean with the Duke shoes. Manages to snap a couple ankles there. Lawbringer is used though, so solo lane is in a bit of strife here. As oh, Jet has Magi's. Okay, I saw the CC immunity. And I was like, hang on, he does have beads. What did he beads? But no, he's got an early Magi's. Look, I'm not a great big fan of Magi's into Ganesh. The fact that Ganesh can kind of just hit silence, and hang on a second. Stoinus made the rotation over. Adlers doesn't have that ultimate available. Fatal Strike is enough to take down Adlers, and Stoinus isn't done trying to chase down half. Abs uses the second hit of Fatal Strike to close the distance, but they're not going to get this Anubis, so he gets away half health. Adlers, though, does go down, and that is the first kill for the Crimson Knights, 13 minutes in.
Yeah, good kill. I feel like it was a little bit of an overextension. Whilst they do have a lead, I still think the Anubis ult, he's going to have, what, like 2 points in it? Oh, scratch that. We're still going under the tower. Here we come. Stoinus with the blink as well. Shut down half guy there. That's 2 kills now, and maybe even a solo tower. We might see that teleport will probably come out in time. But yeah, really maybe overvaluing himself a little bit there. I think The Atlas, yeah, like, oh, never mind. Pretty hectic now, getting in a bit of strife in a 2v1, but doing great damage. However, going to fall pretty low himself. Lots of fighting now, and a little bit of a rotation from Married Men, but it seems like they're going to back off, go back to mid lane. Yeah, a lot happening there. I think the Magi's, it's a decent pickup, but like you said, maybe not the team comp to do it in. But if you want to be safe, it does definitely help out. But yeah, maybe Half Guy and Adlar's maybe overvaluing themselves a little bit there, going a bit too deep. That Anubis ult isn't going to hit too hard at this stage, and that Execute's going to come out pretty easily there for Abs Pro, as there's not, the health bars aren't crazy high at this stage. So being able to chase them down and then semi-lazy backing under tier 1 tower, you usually would think you're safe, but no, they were able to close the gap there and get that double kill, really get themselves back in this game. We're almost on even gold, but Crimson Knights are slightly ahead even.
Yeah, I was looking at it at about that 13-minute mark, and it was a 2k lead for Married Men. You know, not the large not the largest of leads.
Crazy.
But yeah, you're right. It is now even ground. The Crimson Knights actually just slightly ahead. Not enough to really sniff at, but yeah, I think the thing with Tyr is that he's so hard to kill. You know, he's got the double dash. He's got that large Law Ringer ultimate. Hang on, as it looks like PH and Invictus are being looked at here. Stornis on the back. Stomach Pillars and Tusky both come out, but there's the taunt. Pretty hectic does go down. You have to think Invictus in a little bit of trouble here. I don't know. He does still have the dash. Death goes through the wall. Doesn't have a lot of damage, and the Atlas ultimate, which I'd love to know what it's called, Cosmic Ray or something, who knows, isn't enough to take down Invictus as a good little pickup on a PH there.
Yeah, even using the Tusky there, his beads and Aegis were down, so very good from Crimson Knights there to try and punish him, knowing they could fight through that damage of Tusky with 3 of them there combined. And yeah, the Death Gaze over the wall, I feel like it's a little bit of a waste. Yeah, you're probably hitting a lot of it, but it's still kind of wasted just over the wall randomly when you know you're not going to be able to clean up. But Rex Forever coming in to check that gold here, and he's going to fall quickly. Crimson Knights there, very ready to come off that objective there and really hunt down anyone who's going to show face. They've got a 4v5 now, which they had before as well, but pretty hectic back alive now. But maybe this objective's a little too much, but you'll take the pick in the process.
Yeah, health bar is not fantastic for the Knights. 3 of them at about half health. You got the full health PH Invictus, and I think half were all there ready and raring to go. So probably a good call just to drop the Gold Fury. Maybe could have took the fight, but like you said, you're happy to take the pick. Happy to get a little bit more pressure in the game and build on that lead, which is now about 12 or so 100 gold. Again, not the biggest lead to scoff at, but looking a little bit better than 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, being 3k down, it is like, even though they're only 1k up right now, it's actually a bit more like a 3-4k gold swing. So definitely good to get back into the game. But you see the pings coming out. This Anubis is going to be looking to burn this Pyromancer relatively quickly on his own, let alone with 2 hunters there to help out and a Ganesha ult. So whilst gold is important, I feel like Pyro's a lot easier to kill, so we could see some focus over here. Crimson Knights, though, with a really good response. They're ready for these objectives, and they look like they're here to compete.
Yeah, look, this is what I was saying when we were looking over the team list earlier about Married Men, is that they play so well together. Like, they know when to group up, they know when to sit with each other. So, I just want to point out something I remember about that. I wasn't trying to pull the Gold Fury there. I was trying to get rid of a ward, and my Golden Blade hit the ward, which then hit the Pyromancer, which made the Pyromancer chase me. And when I went to drop it, come back in, it chased me again. Man, I just wanted the freaking ward.
Nice try. Lath trying to solo pull this Pyromancer when everyone's around. You're not fooling no one.
Oh man, I tried at least, but looks like 2 tier 1 towers go down on opposite side of the map, both of the Knights.
2 down at the same time, but 3 down altogether. To notice, nothing to scoff at there. This objective game is definitely swinging in the Crimson Knights' favor.
Yeah, Beacon, however, is up, and Rex is already on. It looks like he's going to be able to solo capture it. Nuxel tries to step in. Jed is here. Jed's only level 12, though. Does have that Magi's, as we said, so he can step up a little bit. Not going to get hard CC'd. Does tick over level 13, though. Not the worst here, as Gold Fury is being looked at by the double hunters. Nope, sorry. Rex is over here on the right, as Pyromancer's pulled by Knights. And Knights are going to have to commit to something here, because Gold Fury is probably going to go down for it here. They need to at least take this Pyromancer. They can't let Moss get in here as he blinks in. Good little Fearless, and then a Lawbringer up, down. Married Men secure the Pyromancer, and they take down Jed 9. It's a good fight here. Rex manages to Aegis, so he doesn't go down to that Fatal Strike. Home Sweet Home comes out, and Abs has been knocked up over the Dynamic Pillars, I think, as Stoinis goes in, kills one, gets Unst straight back forward, and the chase is on for Nuxel. Good wrap out of Anubis. This is good CC. The Aegis comes out. I don't know if he's got the pot to get away, though.
Silence.
Oh, the silence.
Stopping the 3 there.
The silence too clean. Adlers
Yeah.
will get, I think that was I'm pretty sure that was a quadra kill. I can't remember. I didn't see it there. I'm pretty sure that's a quadra kill for Adlers.
4 people did fall. Oh, 5 people did fall as they get a solo kill over there. Wow, really well played from Married Men there. That got on that beacon early, and as soon as beacon went down, you saw Jed dashing across. There was a clear intent there to get across to Pyromancer. With just the Artemis and Anubis, they were able to burst that down, and the Anubis rotates across. The rest of the Married Men members wasted enough time, and Jed fell way too low to that Pyro. And Adlar's quadra kill, if you're saying, I don't know if you got.
I'm very certain it was a quadra kill.
And Adlar's quadra kill there on the tier, being a menace in that fight. Health bar's real low. So then not only do Married Men get both big objectives, they get 4 kills there, and then a pretty hectic solo kill as well. Obviously, Flix's ult not too helpful in that 1v1 in terms of that strong CC like you're going to get from an Artemis or anything, but getting caught in the trap there, he's just going to fall as well. It's a bit of a team wipe there, a bit of a deicide coming out for Married Men.
Yeah, I think luckily enough, Jed had respawned at that point, so it wasn't quite a deicide, as Abs could be in a lot of trouble here. All 5 of the boys are in. Death Gaze comes out, good fearless from Adlers. Rex is the one who manages to pick up the kill. And Stoinis stuck sitting under a tower watching a couple of the boys run it down.
Yeah, I mean, that Anubis ult earlier on in that 2-man fall, not doing enough damage, but now 3 items deep, level 18, that thing is going to be hitting real hard. Abs Pro maybe just a little too far forward there, going for that cooldown buff with no teammates around or no real vision or knowledge of who was in the area. And now, yeah, Married Men with their big objective swing and their gold swing, they're able to use this lead to really push down these towers that, I mean, thankfully for Crimson Knights, if you're looking at them, they already had these tier 1s down, so it's a bit more just a return to normalcy there. They've still got a bit of map presence there, but yeah, we're looking probably at the Fire Giant coming down pretty soon with this this burst team from Married Men.
Yeah, it could be a good point. Anubis heading left. I think it's just to get his jungle buff. May look at heading towards Fire Giant right now. Flix and PH still just kind of chilling over here in the duo lane. Yeah,
I'm a fan of this. Just as a hunter, just hit level 20. Especially now with all the objectives that are down, apart from Fire Giant. I don't think a Fire Giant's going to be able to be done really fast enough now that like Abs Pro is back alive. I think if Married Men are going to pull it, they need to find a pick firstly. So I think if you're pretty hectic and if you're Flix, you know, both being level 19, well, pretty hectic now being level 20, you might as well just sit here and farm up. But a little gank coming off, he gets his back cancelled, and an early Tusky comes out. Stoinis may get hit by it. It blinks into the trap. But that's alright. That's alright though, because pretty hectic was actually beadsing while you blinked, while Stoinis blinked there, so he would have stopped most of the CC anyway. But you know, bit of an easy gank there. He still falls even with the trap, the blink into the trap.
You always love to see that. Blink straight into a trap, but yeah. PH does go down. That is an Artemis off the map here. Knights may look to try and force something here. Pyromancer, Gold Fury both coming up very soon, probably about the time when PH will respawn, but it looks like Married Men already grouping up around the Gold Fury area, waiting for that respawn to happen.
Great hindsight to put that trap exactly where he was going to be. But like we said, getting that pick, yeah, Married Men might have been set up for the Gold Fury, but they snuck out the Fire Giant call from Crimson Knights, who tried doing a little shifty one there. Adlar's getting across early, but the Ganesh ult, Baba Yaga ult, tier ult, lots of ults coming out, and Abspro's going to get the execute off there on Adlar's, who's been a big menace, disruption in these team fights, and that solo lane presence is really going to go noticed. PH is back alive now, so we are going to see a 4v5 still, but Married Men are on the retreat. Definitely a good turn there from Crimson Knights to be able to get off that objective so quick and take the fight.
Yeah, I didn't even notice Flix's health bar there. He had probably about 6 health, I'm thinking, as a... They're not very healthy after the fight, though, as Married Men do run straight to Gold Fury. They've got a Hunter, they've got an Anubis. Should be a relatively easy take. Arno's in the area just to keep an eye on the Fire Giant. There you go, Gold Fury goes down. I have to assume it's probably going to be a Fire Giant fight coming up very soon. A lot of people starting to hit 20. Most of the people here, the only non-support is just Stoinis waiting to tick over. Data items probably getting finished very soon. Could be a bit of an interesting scuffle in the jungle here.
Yeah, I think something to notice from that is, to quote my favorite Smite caster, the stuff after the stuff. I feel like this team that by Married Men, even if they do survive with very little HP, they've got that burst to really get those objectives. So even though it was a good fight from the Crimson Knights, you actually see Married Men the ones being able to pull out that Gold Fury. But a big blink there from the tier to pull Abs Pro back in, and he's falling fast to those two hunters. Very low health, but the tier ult comes and slams him down. No need for the stun when you got the extra damage on that red stance. A massive pickup on that solo lane. Good, great blink there from Adlars on that tier.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of really good blink fearlesses coming out of Adlers here. He's really showing his stuff on the tier. While that scuffle was happening, Invictus was over on the beacon. He did secure it. The binds of Tartarus will be coming off pretty soon as Adler's just monkeying into the backline here, and they can't do anything about it. You know, Jed's the main form of CC really is coming from Jed, but as long as tier is in that fearless, he can't be grabbed.
Yeah, I mean, Tier can do what he wants up there while he's zoning out all four of them, and Fire Giant's going to go down so easily to those other 3 or 4 members of Married Men. But Half Guy trying to force the issue after they got Fire Giant, getting bursted down super quick, managing to live as well. Stoinis did blink after him, but to no avail. Nuxel with huge damage there from the 3 though. Good to get it off one hunter, but like we said with this team comp so many times, there's still a second hunter there. So these objectives are still in a bit of danger, and we actually have Titans, like you mentioned, Invictus pulling off that 3rd beacon there. We've got some Titans marching down the left lane.
Yeah, it is a good pickup, but again, as you said, it doesn't really matter too much. They've still got an Anher with Fire Giant. They've still got their support. They've still got an Anubis, so Married Men don't feel too worse for wear here. As looks like Titans will be going for a little scuffle in the duo lane.
Yeah, teams seem to be pretty grouped up around it. Maybe Crimson Knights a bit more here early, but by the time these Titans actually meet, I think all the teams will be here, and we still got 4 members Fire Giant strong. An ultimate up for most people apart from Anher, and pretty hectic as well when he does spawn, will have that ult. But on the other side of the map as well, those ults are coming back up, /R up for everyone but Atlas there. So Crimson Knights actually in a better spot to take down this Titan, which is, you know, decent for them. They can maybe even look to just reset off that one, let their Titans just fall eventually, and try and burn this Fire Giant out as much as they can.
Look, I have to admit that one of my favorite things the Smite has ever done is made the Titans brawl. I love seeing the Titans walk down lane, meet halfway down, and just start throwing hands. It is a real joy to watch. I'm a little bit surprised Merriman didn't take that fight, as I'm not sure if you noticed there were a few traps on the ground there. Obviously, being in the duo lane, Artemis has slapped a couple of the traps on the ground. Merriman probably could have taken a bit of a fight there and hoped that someone accidentally steps into one of those traps.
Yeah, it could have been good, but no harm, no foul. As we see, Crimson Knights, Married Men, sorry, they just continued to push down left, and Crimson Knights went to trade the mid tier 2 with the left one, and unfortunately aren't back in time to stop this double hunter team really shredding down that left Phoenix. I think, you know, they didn't take the fight, but at the end of the day, they still got their just rewards there. A pretty good Phoenix to have down that left one, so they can really just maybe set up for this Gold Fury on the way out, or get these other tier 2s really weak. But I tell you, I think the thing about the Titans that I don't like is that it only happens once. I think it should just happen again in 12 minutes.
Oh,
Jed
yeah.
trying to get picked early, but that Magi is going to stop it. He should be able to get out eventually, but they're going to chase this one down. There's a lot of slows coming out, a lot of abilities coming out, and look, honestly, there's a lot of ultimates used, but it is a good pick to get.
Yeah, all 5 ultimates used. Was that all just then? Was that 5 ultimates just to kill the support?
I don't know if I saw the tier ult, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but the other 4 were definitely used.
The tier ult is very much on cooldown, so I have to assume that all 5 of them were used as everyone tries to catch Stoinis diving into that tier 2 and Riders. Primal Fury picked up straight away. Could be a pretty good call here from Crimson Knights. They are going to trade Pyromancer for it. Both objectives go down. And honestly, I'm a bit unsure about which one I prefer here. Obviously, the Primal Fury really good for doing those big jungle bosses, for doing the Fire Giant on respawn. The extra, I think it's 7% damage and 7% protections against the Fire Giant for your entire team is really handy to have, especially going late into the EFGs. But that bomb is so handy for sieging. You can see that Tier's got 2 bombs. He could almost instantly clear Phoenix just by himself.
Yeah, definitely. I think Primal Fury, like you said, so good to have. But for Married Men who are in the stage where they're kind of in control of the game and they're the ones sieging, scratch that. Stoinis coming in for a blink here, trying to get on pretty hectic early. But he's going to get fearless away there from the tier. This could be a bit of a kerfuffle in mid with the Ganesha ult coming out, really separating the fight, and the Anubis, sorry, ult shredding through everyone. No one too weak yet, but Nuxel going up in the house to get some more of that damage off. What a crazy fight to have no one die. At least no one's died yet. Half guy going to get away there. And Nuxel's still pretty far forward, but everyone should be able to get out here pretty safe. Wow, what a weird fight for no one to fall.
Yeah, that's wild. It was very hard to follow that fight because of the amount of ultimates dropped. The Dharmic Pillars came out. A bit hard to see what was going on. All the while, minions are coming down that left lane into the Titan. Abs is backed. He should be able to clear those relatively easy, but Fire Giant's up very, very soon. And Married Men are all very healthy and heading there now.
Yeah, having this left Phoenix is going to be huge. You see someone has to go and defend that, so it's going to be a 4v5 already, and all 5 of Married Men were able to back there and reset. I mean, Artemis and Arnher both still having all their relics up as well, so them being able to back and set up, I mean, Crimson Knights are just on the back foot here. This thing's going to burn so quickly. Adlaz doesn't even need to do too much, but he's just going to hop on Nuxel there, try and get some damage off while his team does the rest, and he's actually going to ult in. He's looking to press the issue there with Fire Giant ticking. He's going to be definitely healthy enough, and with 2 bombs he can actually just go do what he wants. As we see Stoinis there, knowing that they were going to lose that Fire Giant the way they were set up, and with left lane having those fire minions, he's just looking to split push that mid lane. At the same time, Abs is pushing out those minions in left. Looks like they're going to be going for that Phoenix defense on right.
Yeah, Jed somehow manages to survive that entire ordeal, and I just have to say, if that was a defensive ultimate from a defense stance ultimate coming out of Adler's on the tier, that would have been a huge stun. He hit all 3 people there. His team were coming. They were slowed and shredded by the Dharmic Pillars. As Right Phoenix goes down, 2 bombs still available.
Yeah, no real chance to defend that one. These double hunters are shredding through these objectives. Just no time for them to even react. They're coming down mid now. That left Phoenix is respawning, but yeah, 2 bombs still up. It's going to be a pretty tough defense here. Maybe even looking at sitting under the Titan and going for that last-ditch fight. There is a lot of ultimates down for the Crimson Knights, so it could be a very tough fight here. But yeah, look, they're 5 members strong. They've got 5 minions in left lane still. Maybe looking to be a bit patient with it, but Half Guy's looking to force the issue here.
Yeah, the good thing about this Anubis jungle is you can just kind of walk up, drop a hands, drop a wrap. If you hit someone, huge fight. If you don't hit someone, it's no real biggie. Come back in 10 seconds, have another crack. Both bombs used a little bit too early because I think PH had already got that Phoenix before either of them went off.
Yeah, kind of weird to use 2 bombs on an already weak Phoenix, but you know, he's done everything else right this game. We can't hold him too much like that. Maybe he just wants to get these fire minions in as quick as possible. You can see the tier going for that wraparound, looking for this 5v5 in mid. Ganesha looking to force the issue, dropping his ult, but taking a lot of damage. The Anubis is going to ult early on that backline. Stoinis just getting absolutely blasted, trying to blink into those backline hunters and Anubis. Flix, though, however, is putting out good damage, and Abspro is actually going to get a kill off onto the pretty hectic there. 1 hunter of 2 down. And look, I mean, they didn't save the Phoenix, but it's a successful defense overall. They're still in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is still 3 Phoenixes down. Gold swinging, starting to get pretty big here, 12k. At this point in the game, it's not a huge issue. Most people already full builds. It's just kind of upgrading a couple of relics, probably just the supports, getting a couple of items online as a relatively good defense. You know, I think it was a simple 1-for-1 trade, a lot of ultimates used, and Married Men do have a bit of time to breathe here. They can just go take the Oni Fury, let those fire Oni waves push, and probably just look for ending the game on the next push.
Something I wanted to talk about earlier, but I never got around to doing so, as Married Men pick up the Oni Fury here for that final push, was the Abspro getting Transcendence. He got it very early on, he got a second item, maybe just confident enough with his tankiness with just the breastplate of regrowth alone. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at his build as a whole, he is pretty tanky even with the Transcendence. Not bad to have a little bit of extra damage in there maybe.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game as well, you can just kind of slap the armor on, and the armor makes up a little bit for what that item would have been in regards to a defensive item. He's probably still looking at pretty high 200s in the prots department. Quite a fair bit of health, especially with that breastplate. That Heartwood amulet as well. So I think he's probably still chilling on this build. Probably looking for a little bit more pressure early on, which is always going to be hard with a tier because he just kind of ignores you most of the time, right? He just kind of goes for the lane. Does a couple little fearlesses, clears it, walks off and goes in proxies or something. Married Men looking to try and force it here. Magi's down very quickly. Hang on a second. Good turn here. Flix has already picked up PH. Flix has picked up Invictus. Baba Yaga in that home sweet home trying to chase down Arno. Does manage to get the leap away, and Half is running for his life here as Atlas is in the left-hand lane. And a really good defense just slightly inside the Phoenix line.
Yeah, wow, they kind of caught them off guard a bit there. I think it was either Stonus or Abs Pro got the flank around the top right there, and Adlars was too busy pushing down the left minions trying to do the 4-1 split where Crimson Knights were able to take that fight in mid there, and with the lights out from Flicks, those basics with that extra range just were shredding from long distance. Him being able to pick up 2 kills there in that fight was huge, and they've stalled this game out a little longer. Their right Phoenix is coming back up, that Fire Giant's coming back up. This is where you can see that Primal Fury might have a bit of effect, maybe a steal attempt or a sneak attempt from Crimson Knights coming in.
Yeah, you're right. That Primal Fury, this is probably that point in time where it's going to make the difference. Obviously, both bombs have already been wasted by, used. Both bombs have already been used by Adlers. There is still another one. Rex appears to have gotten one. I'm not too sure when that Pyromancer went down, but he does now have a bomb himself as well. They could look at just taking this EFG, play it safe, walk in a right Phoenix, drop a bomb on it, get rid of it really quickly, because it looks like that may be the case here.
Yeah, we're not showing a lot of... Crimson Knights not showing a lot of pushback here. They're looking just to defend their base with their Titan already being half health. Probably the right play. Maybe you send someone up to try and get a cheeky steal, but as soon as Adlars scopes them out, you probably just run away and let them have that one. But it's a big thing to give up. EFG here now, pushing into the base at 35 minutes. With the Titan already this week and the mid Phoenix only just respawning, this might be tough into the double hunter.
Yeah, could be. Adler's looking to get a bit of vision just outside, as I think Flicks might have got it back over here. Right Phoenix up, left Phoenix up. There is a fire wave pushing into left, and no one really close. Looks like Abs might be moseying on over there. Middle Phoenix has just now respawned, so it looks like it could be a 3-1-1 defense, but it's a 3-2 split. And Middle Phoenix has already gone down.
Yeah, not much Stoiners can do there in the 2v1 / semi 3v1 with someone else hovering around the corner there. But yeah, this right Phoenix now, the healthiest of the 3, is going to be the focus here as they have a minion wave coming in. Flicks with an early ult there to try and force the issue, but Adlars is here on the backline. Jed trying to pick some people up, got left alone on the front there. That Tusky's going to shred through that tank, and that Phoenix falling now too. They're under a lot of strife here. There's 5 minions pushing down that left one. Stoiner's trying to force the issue there with his ult. It's going to get cancelled again. But he's still doing some good damage. He can't get the heal off though because the ult never came off. And Flicks is just stuck here trying to waste his time while the rest of the team cleans up. But all 3 Phoenixes are going to fall here. The Titan down to half health, and Married Men still here looking pretty strong. 4 members having the Fire Giant. Once again, a decent fight from Crimson Knights. As long as this game doesn't end, I think they're doing alright.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was referring to earlier, where the ultimate came out about 4 times before it finally actually came out. Because you're looking at like pushback from Arnher, knock up even, wrap from the Anubis, the couple of knock-ups from the Deer, the silence from the Ganesh. It is a little bit hard to get non-CC immune abilities off, but you're right. A relatively good fight.
Stoinus. Don't try and hide it.
That's a great point. He could just use the beads and then use the ultimate. There's Crimson Knights just trying to push out waves. Abs has been spotted, Invictus and Rex are both here.
They shouldn't be able to catch up. I think Abs kind of caught on to they were coming based on that quick turnaround with the minion wave still there. And yeah, I think both teams they're just trying to look for something cheeky before this next fight goes away. But Abs having the knowledge there, I don't know if he has wards or if he just noticed no one was on the map. He's smart enough to get out of there. And Rex and Invictus not looking to give on that chase, just kind of group up with their team while they still have Fire Giant ticking on 4 members.
Yeah, I can't see any wards up there, so maybe just a bit of know-how from Abs, really showing that comp experience. You know, been around the traps a couple times now, the old Abs pro. So, if you're the Crimson Knights here, Chompy, what are you thinking? You got 3 Phoenixes down, Titans half health, double Hunter and Anubis, most of which have the Fire Giant. What's your play here? Are you trying to fight outside your Phoenix lines? Are you trying to let them come in?
Yeah, I think it's definitely tough to fight in the Phoenix lines, but I think the counter engage with the Shibalanke ult's really the best way to win. If I was shot calling for my team, I'm fighting up at the tier 1s, but there's a reason I'm not shot caller for my team. But I don't think you can let them get too far into the base. But like I said there, the Shibalanke ult coming out, they're looking for that surprise pick in mid while the team's separated. Half guy not even bothered, not even coming over. He's going to push down that left, and the fact that Married Men were able to survive, not good signs, but I think it was the right play for Crimson Knights to do. With this Titan so low, you can't really let them get in. But now, with Half Guy stranded on his own, trying to get a pick off there, but have they left their base too unprotected? The Frenzy coming out with the double Hunters. Married Men are going to take that one. Honestly, I think Crimson Knights did as best as they could in that last bit there. Their Titan was just a bit too weak for what they were trying to really capitalize on, and Married Men were smart enough with their know-how to take down that Titan pretty quickly.
Yeah, it took just a little bit too much time to start getting all cylinders rolling for the Knights. Um, as you said, started getting some really good fights at the end of that game. Maybe if they came out just a little bit earlier, you wouldn't have got to the point where 3 Phoenixes were down, but did a really good job of just kind of protecting the base there as a relatively even slash lines. It was a 12-13 game. A lot of gold though in the way of the Married Men. So what would you say, Chomby? It's just probably played the map a little bit better.
Yeah, like you said, the score lines were pretty close. Not too many fallings and stuff like that. The only really kill difference was that solo kill in duo lane, I guess. If you want to look at one part, like, but that apart from that solo kill, which doesn't happen often, those games are relatively even. With that gold swing, yeah, you're just seeing that comp that was really drafted, that double hunter and Anubis comp, really just able to shred through those objectives. Maybe just a bit of that like team chemistry and team know-how that they can play together so well. I think a big point in the game was that Adlar's quadra kill / double objective secure from Married Men, where after the beacon went down, they kind of saw the pathing of Crimson Knights going across to that pyro, and they were able to stall out on that pyro side while half their team did the Gold Fury. I think it's just, I don't think there was too much actually done bad by Crimson Knights. I just think it's one of those games where Married Men played it really well. They played the map really well. I think there's positives to take away from both teams and some positives to take into the draft. I think maybe if you are looking to ban out that Anubis, if you thought he was such a big threat and if he was such a big threat in previous weeks, but I don't really think he was the biggest issue. I think any mage jungler kind of works there alongside the double hunter. I think it's maybe just not definitely not a draft diff. I actually really like both drafts, but maybe try and switch something up coming into that next game.
Yeah, speaking of what are you thinking about switching up, Chumpy? You think that maybe a little switch up in the draft could be what the Knights need to kind of turn this set around?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think the draft was terrible. I just maybe something that can compete better on these objectives. Um, the Atlas, while it's a good pick, it doesn't have the strongest like hard CC across the board. Like his dash can slow, I think, like a few people in the area of effect of it, AOE of it, and his 2 can get massive pulls off, but that 2 is really hard to get that close grab on. So maybe something with a bit more CC, a bit more control. I think, yeah, the Baba Yaga is pretty safe. So maybe if in the jungle they can try and punish that mid lane a little more, but Anher's also very safe. I'm not the draft guy for my team, so I got no idea, but like I think I think something can change. I think some things can change. I think the objectives is where this one really spiraled out of control. So maybe looking in that direction a little bit.
Yeah, well, hopefully Crimson Knights can switch up the objective play a little bit more in game 2 and try and turn this set around as I'm not too sure. Are we gonna take a quick
Yeah,
5 minute break here and then get into the next one, or do we have the next one ready to go? I'm unsure here.
I think we jump across to a little break. We can process that one a little bit. The sleeper Anubis jungle pick coming out. Let's process it and get our thoughts ready for game 2.
That sounds good. We'll see you after a short break. Why did I mute as if I... to Smite OCL. We are in the midst of the Married Men versus the Crimson Knights. Married Men taking the early lead, getting up 1-0 above the Knights right now.
Yeah, definitely a strong start. And like you mentioned, uh, being on this team, your coach's insight was to let the Anubis through. And after we saw the Anubis come away with game one, I'm tempted to see if we're going to see any switch ups here as we head into picks and bans, with Crimson Knights electing to have the first pick here. Is that something Crimson, like as a team, Stonus, you guys are kind of leaning towards first pick, or what are your thoughts on first pick, second pick coming
Um,
into OCL?
it's an interesting question, Chumpy. I think that there are a lot of really good picks right now. You've only got 6 bans. There's what 125 gods or something in the game.
Jesus.
126 now that Charon's here, I'm pretty sure. You only get 6 bans at the start of a game, so there's always going to be a lot of things to get through. So sometimes the first pick's really good because there might be that one really broken OP thing that will make it through. Meticulous is generally the one that a lot of people lean towards if it gets through. Whereas in second pick, if you can kind of give up one thing, you might be able to get 2 really good things on the other side. So
Yeah.
it is hard to tell. I myself, I don't really mind. I kind of like being first pick because you get to be the order side. I just like the colors more. What can I say?
I think the first pick is always really important, even though they can get 2 priority picks on the other side. Like you were saying, there's so many gods now that even in that second and third pick on the first pick side, you are getting good gods still. I do like the change up I'm seeing here. I think if you're not going to take the Baba Yaga, it's a good ban, but more so the Ganesha. I know you were mentioning it, and I was also mentioning it a little bit. Invictus was doing really well
Let the
piloting
sound
that
of
Ganesha, and it was a
slaughter
really
begin.
potent pick there to keep his 2 hunters alive. And it actually leaves this Kali open for a first pick, which is very interesting. Very excited to see this one because I feel like every single game I've watched for the last 3 weeks, it has been banned.
Yeah, I mean, you can see for both Crimson Knights and Married Men, it is in the top bands right now. So the Knights are changing up the draft a little bit, aiming to get that Kali first, and Kepri Ram taken on the on the back end. Both very good at just surviving Kali. All right, if you got Kali diving one person, Kepri can kind of just chuck that res on that person. Ram obviously can take to
Tremble
the sky.
beneath the
So
waves.
good little counter picks on the defensive side from Married Men as Yamoja now locked in.
And an Agni Hover probably going to be locked. Yeah, like you mentioned, similar to last game, Married Men going for their duo lane early, trying to get that. Well, at least we thought so. That Anher ended up going middle, but that's that good flex potential. I think this game is a bit more concrete. You probably are going to see a Ram ADC, but however, we have seen it mid before, even in this season.
This is one
From
tale
Pie's
you
team,
don't want to
Vintage playing
chase,
it mid, but
darling.
you usually expect that to be ADC. And yeah, like you mentioned, that Kepri does really good surviving that Kali burst. If she's not able to kill her target, she can get left in a bit of a bad spot, especially if you pick up something like an Ankh or some anti-heal, which with the Emoja also on the team is going to be definitely something that Married Men should be prioritizing. Even having a Circuit there as well, who's going to have that anti-heal in her ult. I think it's definitely a very strong strong first three from the Married Men. Not saying that the Crimson Knights don't have a strong front three there. Agni is a crazy good god. He does so much damage. Relatively safe as well. One of the only real mages having a dash. So yeah, that Kali as well. If it gets late game, it could slam. But I guess we'll just have to wait to see on that one. But yeah, some more bands coming out here. Hachiman, kind of the other hunter that we see rising up in the ranks, Rama Hachiman, so it's always a good band to take away. And the Achilles as well, just a strong solo lane presence and one that Abs played relatively well last game. So why not take away a bit of that comfort? While on the other side we have the Disco and Arnher getting taken
Let
away.
the hunt begin.
Yeah, the Achilles also a good band because of the Kepri. Obviously, executes do go through that revive. So if Kepri puts that little Scarab's blessing onto someone to try and revive them if they die, the execute will still go through and that person will still die. So and obviously Abs had a relatively good game on it in game number one. So that's a good band. With Artemis coming out though, we
I've been
thinking
made to look like a fool yet again.
Our deed
Pretty
shall be
hectic. He's
written
turning
in
into his
legend.
own little Theg wannabe with this Artemis. Two of the top ADCs love this Artemis pick. Maybe I'm the one lacking behind and I should be playing more Artemis, but that looks probably, I'm going to assume that Artemis is better off in the duo lanes. This Ram, ignore everything I said earlier, will probably be going into the mid lane, similar to what Vintage was able to run on that Pi team. But Knights finishing off their draft with the Guan Yu Sononos. Very strong gods, and here it comes again, another Anubis hover. Are we going to see it again?
Hey, I know we couldn't be because there's already a circuit there. It's, yeah.
I was ready for Circuit solo, but they're going to play it a little less janky here. They're going to try and go for that 2-0. No mucking around in this game too here. Circuit in the jungle and Cerberus in that solo. So no Anubis this time around.
Yeah, interesting the Cerberus. I haven't seen a lot of it lately. I'm not too sure where the pick's coming from. Maybe Adler's is just a bit of a fan of the puppy dog, but yes, it will be a Cerberus solo. That no Anubis in the jungle this game. It will be a circuit. And what are we thinking from this circuit? You assume he's probably just going to be building defense and playing more of the setup for his double hunter, or do you think maybe we'll be looking at the crit circuit, which made a bit of a resurgence not too long ago, but has kind of simmered off a little bit?
Yeah, not too sure honestly. Maybe just one crit item in there just randomly, but I think the main potency of this cat would be that anti-heal ultimate coming out there, especially with the Guan Yu even getting picked up afterwards, just getting even more value out of it. 3 gods there really harshly punished by that anti-heal, and the Cerberus is kind of similar. I mean, I think you could pick like a Yorm here or anything like that, but they're kind of just looking for that big, beefy Guardian solo. Maybe it is a comfort thing. I do know fair few people do like the Cerberus. I know our now main roster slash ex sub Corbara is a big fan of the Cerberus as well. So it is just a good god to have, and he does have that little synergy there with healing, where he can get some healing off the enemy team. But it's also just a good god to have like a big beads burner ultimate on, which they might be lacking from their support a little bit. Khepri is a bit more of that backline support, trying to keep his team alive, stop that Kali from getting a bit too rampant and things like that. So I think it's just a good way for them to burn beads so that this Circuit ult can get even more value outside of just the anti-heal aspect of it.
Yeah, that is a great point, Chompies. I need to point out the back camp has trolled the married men. It took half of its health and said, "Thank you, have a good day. I'll catch you later." Walked back to where it spawns from, and unfortunately, the duo lane a little bit behind because of that.
I mean, I guess a positive to look away from this is I think they would have lost the pressure in lane anyway. Like, Cernanos Yamoja is a crazy duo lane. A lot more pressure coming out from the Crimson Knights this game, so I think they would have run away with this lane anyway. It is a bit annoying to just have less farm and get less farm, and that cooldown's going to be a lot later as well now for that backhand, as it still hasn't been taken. Half guy, rightfully so, focusing on that mid camps and mid lane, things like that. So it is just a bit annoying, but I feel like this team would have already been on the tower anyway, kind of chilling. And the fact that they haven't lost shield buff here, because half guy was in the, for Crimson Knights, the left jungle, the order side's left jungle, it would have been called out from the mid too, and they actually aren't losing too much outside of just that one backhand. They're still going to get this shield buff.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. That's a solo kill. Rex gets a solo kill over Nuxel. That is first blood. The Ram mid showing its potency earlier.
Wow,
I'm not too sure what happened there. I was in the game, but I don't remember.
Something briefly touched upon is that I remember saying when the Arnher and Anubis were taking those bastions, it's a lot of early pressure these hunters can do. These basics early game are going to swing so hard. And I guess Nuxel just caught unprepared there, maybe even crippled and not really thinking he needs to use his beads against the cripple, but it's an early fall there. Not the best thing to do. This this Rama now is going to have a lot of just free farm in here. I mean, Akali can't really punish him early as much as you'd like, so definitely interesting from Nuxel there to fall like that, but he seems to be doing alright now, getting back into the swing of things, and Agni's going to do damage late game regardless. It's just a bit unfortunate, but here he is dashing in now. They do have the 3v2, so it's going to be relatively safe to do that, but yeah, an interesting first blood and solo kill to start off this game. Rex Forever just showing that he can pilot these hunters, which not something I've seen a lot of in the past, to be honest.
Yeah, Jed with a early rotation over there pops the frenzy. They do get the beads from Rex, which is good. Hopefully they can make a bit of use out of that. They do have obviously an Agni that does have that long range stun. Once he hits level 5, should be able to punish this like a beads from Rex. But yeah, really good solo kill from Rex, showing his ability to play more than just the mages. Gets on the board nice and early. Does get him a little bit of a lead here. First one to hit level 5, but Abs has also hit level 5 on the other side. And back to a bit of standard farming here for the boys, I think.
Yeah, especially after last game. First blood, well, both the first 2 kills came pretty quick succession, but first blood not really coming out till that 8.5 minute mark. Definitely a lot more of an early game pull here. Like we said, this duo lane's more aggressive from Crimson Knights. You're seeing a switch that, an early Yemoja ult here to trap in the Khepri. He's going to struggle to get out of there, and the Cernerus ult coming through too. They're using that early game aggression like we mentioned, but not enough to kill
Good body
Invictus. They're
blocks from
able to
PH.
sneak his way out with the help of PH and that shell coming through there, but loving to see this aggression coming out from Crimson Knights. But what I was going to say is, similar to the half guy playing Anubis last game, you've got Stoinis playing the Kali this game. There's a lot of hyper farm that needs to go into it. There's a lot of focus on that really slowing down the game and trying to get as late game as quickly as possible without losing too much. So we're seeing a bit of a flip in terms of the roles. And yeah, half guy able to come over as Circuit here to protect this shield buff after their team was aggressed upon, which is, for this duo lane of Cernanos and Yemoja, kind of appalling how little shield buff they've had. But I guess if the jungler comes, the jungler comes. There's not too much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, the Crimson Knights do have that Kali. They need to be looking at just farming to late game. Probably not going to be looking at fighting too often from the jungle, I would assume. But you're right. Yeah, the Yemoja and the Cernanos not quite getting as much value as they'd like to early. I do think it is going to be a little bit hard for Flix here. He does have a lot of anti-heal on the side of Married Men. Obviously, Circuit does have that last gasp, I believe it's called, which does remove all healing completely. But then you've also got the Cerberus as well with that passive, with that tainted steel. He is going to make it really hard for Jed to have as big an impact in these team fights as he would like.
Yeah, something that it's definitely not a bad thing to have either. Like, I'm not insulting any players as well either, but I feel like a lot of Yemoja players, when they do come late game, the only thing they know how to do is just to throw out that 2. And I feel like a god like Cerberus can actually punish that kind of gameplay. But Stoinis here getting the Circuit ult used on him, but he's able to get out relatively safe there. It was a 4-man rotation from Married Men to try and protect these buffs. I think Abspro was standing up on a ward there, so getting sniffed out pretty early, and good response from the team to come across there without losing too much. I think just a Bastion in mid and maybe a green buff.
Yeah, if I do remember, Crimson Knights did get the blue invade on that first respawn. So Married Men, as I've said before many times, they're really good at just playing together, at grouping up, aware that they might be looking at a second blue buff invade, so they rotated as many people over as they could, protected that blue buff, and nearly copped a couple relics and a life for it. But luckily for Crimson Knights, nothing was expended.
Yeah, and then like we said, nothing too bad. Kali just going to go back to the farming there. You are seeing, I mean, at least as of right now, without any more wave falling down, the mid lane has evened back out for Nuxel, getting back on level. Obviously, the Ram could be at the top end of that and the Agni be on the low end of that, but for now, no real level discrepancies. There's 1 level in solo, and Jed actually just ticked up to 7 there, so look, the gold is relatively even at this stage. Crimson Knights are actually a little bit ahead, so pretty even game, even with that first blood 500 gold going in the favor of Married Men.
Yeah, half sniffing around this duo lane. Flix wasn't there, but has spotted the fact that Jed and Nuxel are pushed up a little bit here. Beads used very early, and Last House hasn't come out yet.
No
But
need to with the realm snipes.
Rex does have the snipes though, and half looking to just take the green buff on the back end of this. Twin too short of that stun range, and I can't remember what that dash is. Oh, I really wish I remember what all the abilities were. Death Bane. The Death Bane comes out. Green buff is stolen away, and it looks like he could be angling over towards Flix. He didn't use that ultimate, so this could still be a good gank from Circuit. Has Blink, has ult. Flix is walking up. May have sniffed it out a little bit early by the aggression from PH. Taunt, not close enough. The Blink is used, and Flix is probably taking that as a bit of a win.
Yeah, good win from Flix there. No CC immune ultimate on this Cerno, so it's really easy to punish him once those beads are down, which Halfguy was probably looking to get there. And honestly, just unfortunate for Nuxel and Jed there in mid. They thought they were relatively safe on that mid camp pull there, but the Circuit making that wide gank around Gold Fury, getting the sneaky pull on them there, and yeah, not having to expend that ultimate because of the Ram snipes makes it really easy for them to get that punish off. And yeah, look, to be honest, there's just a big swing now for the Rama. He's got that Dev's Gloves fully stacked. He's level 10 now with a 2-kill lead. We're going to just see how Nuxel can really play this one out, not having beads up himself. I think that's a big worry for the 2 carries of Crimson Knights, but the Artemis ult getting used, but not getting a lot of value actually. That stun behind the tower there kept him relatively safe after Khepri burnt the beads there, but should be relatively safe with this Khepri ult up. If they can punish him though. He's going to land exactly on the same spot, but he's definitely going to get out with that Capri ult for now at least.
Yeah, a bit of miscommunication there, it seems like. Nuxel went for the Artemis where Jed and Flix decided to chase the Kepri, who was out of position. Ultimate was used, and Kepri
waste a
might
lot
fall
of
to the
time.
tower here. They might not be able to get to him, and he does. Order tower. First blood for the Crimson Knights.
Decent from him. Obviously, with our knowledge, we can see the minimap. The Kali wasn't going to cut him off. He probably could have run across towards mid a bit more, but obviously it's a lot easier for me to say that when I'm not playing the game and looking at the entire minimap. But decent from him to have that knowledge to just try and die to tower, not give away any assists or anything like that. Unfortunately, oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong team. No assists given, nothing given, just a death to tower there. Not too bad from Invictus after living on about 11 HP there. He did expend his Kepri ult, but I mean, that's worth it. Rex forever doing so much damage. If he can hit these snipes, it's going to be another solo kill. And bang, doesn't even need the third one. Stoinis not ready for those slow shots. Going to miss the stun there, and Half Guy going to use that ultimate to peel there. Jed, however, going to trade out pretty hectic over there in the duo lane with his Artemis ult being used aggressively onto that tower. Left a little bit exposed to that Yamoja Cernino. So a decent trade there, but another kill for Rex. And I do think that was a solo kill.
Yeah, pretty sure it definitely was. Really good from Rex. You can see there is a ward in that beacon area right there. He's seen Nuxel coming, goes for the dash, makes it so that Nuxel can't get his own dash off. Eventually he does get the beads though, which is handy. Rex doesn't have beads for the next 120 seconds, you know, that's 2 minutes. That means that his beads won't be up for the beacon fight if the Crimson Knights decide to take it right on spawn. So not the worst trade. Obviously you definitely don't want your mid laner to be dying there, but he does get something on the back end of it. And you can see Nuxel is getting rid of that ward that he was spotted on.
Yeah, definitely fair. And he is already down a little bit, so I guess like there's no shutdown gold or anything that's swinging that way. But yeah, obviously in a perfect world, you want your mid laner to live, but not the worst trade as well with a duo lane tier 1 going down too. You can maybe even see, just based on this timing, Flix might be able to show face a little bit earlier at this beacon fight and maybe have a bit of a swing there for Crimson Knights. But yeah, this Ram is just in a really good spot. He's got that Aegis online now. I thought that was the wing shard cooldown. I don't know, maybe that's just a visual bug when they upgrade their
I
relic
would
like
say
that.
I would say it's a visual bug. Yeah, you know, high-res spectator always works perfectly.
But yeah, he doesn't have the beads like you said, but Ram can still be safe there with that ultimate as well. We'll see how they're able to punish and really get those cooldowns down, as this beacon's about 45 seconds away from spawning up here.
It looks like it could be a PH angle here. Jet is in the area. He has just stepped on a ward though. PH is now aware. He's backing up a little bit. But Stoinis also in the area. Should be able to catch PH on the wall here.
Yeah,
Gets the
no
stun
tier
off.
1 tower.
Yeah, good double stun there. I think no, I don't think the beads were used just yet. There, the beads come out now.
Well,
Unfortunately, the knockback, but that is both the Tusky and the beads out of PH. Gonna make it a lot better for him. The carries have no beads for the beacon fight. This should be pretty good for the Crimson Knights. Half
yeah,
is
nothing.
making a good rotation of the jungle though to strip away a bit of that right side.
Yeah, nothing really lost there from Crimson Knights in mid lane. There was a bit of a grouping there from Married Men, but they weren't able to take anything away. So yeah, Artemis going to definitely be very unsafe right now with no tier 1 tower. You saw how easily Stoinis was able to wrap around the back there, and Jed's Riptide was actually really good to push the Artemis back in, but then once the Artemis beads, it was just unfortunate there to pick off the Kali, stop her from aggressing, but with Invictus showing face there on the beacon, that Yamodrod's going to come out and just completely trap him in. Honestly, not worth using the Kepri ult, so I'm glad he held onto it there. He was just dead to rights with that positioning. But they are going to lose a beacon while pretty hectic. Like I said, Flix came and showed face, helped out there, but the classic catch-22 of Hunter is if you ever leave your lane, your tower is going to fall because you're not allowed to leave that lane before you're level 20. So whilst mid tier 1 does fall, they lose the tier 1 in left, but Crimson Knight's able to pick up the beacon there, and they're still in the gold lead here for now at least.
Yeah, PH maybe biting a little bit more than he can chew here though. As we know, no beads, no ultimate. Flix and Stoinis in the area. It does look like Half Guy is also here. Has spotted Flix. Leap over the wall though. Tusky nice and early. Beads used by the Kali, and the ultimate comes out from the circuit, but Kepri ultimate enough to keep PH alive. The shell as well. He could be in a bit of danger here. Bomb comes down. Nuxel does manage to get that kill, and it is Invictus now who's in a bit of trouble. Half decides to cancel the back and hang around to help.
Oh,
blinks in, but catches the back end of a stun, and Invictus probably going to get away now. And Nuxel does get the stun off himself. Snipe comes from Rex, a little bit too far out of range.
Yeah.
And They're just going to take the win, the Crimson Knights, and back out of there.
Yeah, bit of a crazy fight. Rex Forever staying, not Rex Forever, sorry, Pretty Hectic staying a little too long there doing the purple buff. That effect was seen through the jungle, and you saw the pings coming out. Flix went for that really high rotation, but Half Guy not being able to stop him, but forcing the dash out. I don't know how Flix got away with just dashing in there, but they were both in melee range there of that Artemis. That ult bought a little bit of time, and so did that Kepri ult. With a few juke shoes coming out too from Pretty Hectic, but those bombs bound to fall eventually to those big old circles. And yeah, the chase afterwards, Half Guy maybe just trying to help Invictus get out. I think he was always relatively safe to get out there, but he blinks into help and just cops the Kali stun straight away. Not what you want to be getting off your blink, but now with Pyromancer up, we're going to have objectives up on both sides. Something we haven't really touched on as well from last game. Married Men, while they still have 2 hunters, they don't have that same burst coming out of that mage jungler. Pretty Hectic getting ganked again. His beads are up, but his ult is down. He's just not even going to use those relics. He's going to cop that death. I think even if he does beads there, he still dies. So probably smart to hold on to them. But yeah, probably a Gold Fury going to be falling that way. And good to see Rex trying to trade it out for a Pyro.
Yeah, Crimson Knight's just aware of the fact that there is no Tusky. Makes for a relatively easy gank for Flix and Stoinus. Rex are struggling just a little bit more this game. 0-3 right now. Maybe not quite getting the support that he had first game. Maybe just getting punished a little bit more on the Artemises. Looks like Married Men are trying to turn it to the right side. You are right, though. They did trade the Pyro for the gold. So it's not the worst feeling in the world right now. And they're maybe trying to look at this 2-1 tower as Rex is here. Abs is going to have a bit of a hard time defending this.
Yeah, he should be relatively okay to defend the tower. He is going to lose his Bastions, though, which is just as heartbreaking. Big Bastion fan. But yeah, as I was trying to allude to a bit earlier, they don't have that same burst in their team comp. So I think Crimson Knights, you know, playing the map really well there. Like you said, Pretty Hectic, down 0-3 now. Artemis has a lot of abilities to help her live, but actually isn't the safest god once her ultimate is down. The trap is relatively hard to manage to pull off there, and the movement speed and the slows aren't always too helpful. But Half Guy now looking to show a bit of face here, maybe just get that purple buff away. And like you were referring to a bit earlier, oh, he actually could fall here. Good taunt there to save his life, and Pretty Hectic going to use the Tusky to peel, but Stoinus with a really fast beads there and a Kali ult to get that tick damage going, and that's, I think it goes slow, but oh no, the Ram Snipes are going to come through and pick him off. Maybe a bit too over-aggressive there from the Crimson Knights.
Yeah, chasing a little bit too hard. No vision really from that mid lane. Rex manages to get in, gets that Astral Barrage out. Nuxel has just dashed in front of Rex. He should be calling it out. Beads are used. Flix is probably going to have to try his best to peel here, but Abs is here now, and PH, he's probably in danger. Flix manages to pick that up, and it's Invictus now who's in a bit of danger. I think he's already used that dash, and it's a good ultimate from Jed. Maybe not a great ultimate from Invictus. Trying to keep himself alive here, as Flix will pick up the double kill. Invictus falls. Jed trying to back in the middle of a wave. That doesn't quite work, my friend.
Both teams just showing a bit of I don't know what the word is. Not like a bit of too excited to get stuck into the fights. Not enough patience shown there. Maybe chasing those kills a bit too far, but then the other way, Married Men, once they got that pick, they went a bit too hard themselves there. Not ready for Adspro to make that rotation. He is going to lose his tier 1 tower for it, but definitely some good kills there and keeping their mid and ADC alive once their relics were down. And a great ult from the Emoja as well, but both teams just going a bit too hog wild in there. Maybe settle it down.
A bit too hard in the paint.
Definitely something you touched on earlier as well was the Circuit and the angle they were going to build. We are seeing a Transcendence coming out and a bit of crit, but also that Stone of Binding, which is definitely a great item to have on Circuit. She procs it so easily with her 2 or her ult. So I think you see Binding coming out a lot for even these full damage Circuits. So kind of a stand build so far, but looking to go down that crit angle.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. I was asking earlier, will this be, you know, that high defense Circuit, or will this be the crit Circuit? He's decided to double down and go for the double whammy, get both. So I don't hate it at all. You're right, the Stone of Binding, very good on the Circuit. The protection shred is really good for the CC that comes out on that 2 taunt and the ultimate as well, as we are looking at a big beacon fight here. First respawn, Abs is already in, a bit of focus onto him, and Adler's straight into the backline, big circle ultimate, and then a frenzy pops by Jet on the back. Nuxel in a bit of danger. Good stun though from Adler's, and the Astral Barrage is coming out from Rex. First shot has missed. elects to go for a different target, and he's not found anything yet, but Nuxel's really low, walking back in, and Tusky comes out, but Zonis is in on Adlers, and he is getting shredded down. That's the first kill down. Goes on to PH on the left side. That's a double kill. This should be a Crimson Knight's beacon here. Taking 2 kills and the beacon. Good little turnaround.
Yeah, good little Aegis there from both carries to stop that Tusky damage, but as we saw before that fight, Crimson Knights were kind of set up better for the beacon. They had 3 people on it, Abs Pro causing a bit of strife in the mid lane there. The Rama snipes a bit off too, but it looks like they can go straight across to this gold theory with those 2 picks going down. We did see a good reaction there from Adlars getting that Blink Bolt down, but unfortunately not met with a lot of follow-up off that, and we still have a lot of beads up on the side of Crimson Knights, so just not really his team in a good enough position to really capitalize on such a big ultimate like that. But yeah, we see a good swing there. Stoinis getting 2 kills on the Kali, really good for him to have that. So a decent fight there. Obviously Gold Fury not able to be done just because they're a bit weak off that back of that beacon fight, but still a good swing for Crimson Knights.
Yeah, that is a good point. That was a huge ultimate from Adlers. You know, whenever you see an ultimate like that, you blink into the backline as a Cerberus, you get like all 3 carries, and you think, wow, I've got a really good ultimate here. None of them beads, none of them die. It's just heartbreaking. I'm not too sure why. To be fair, not a great deal of follow-up. They have gone for a Cerberus into a double Hunter comp. So there's no really big area damage mage abilities. I mean, your main real area damage is just the Ram 1, right? You know, those astral arrows that can shred through a couple of targets. So not a great deal of follow-up.
Artemis 3.
Yeah, and Artemis 3 and the Tusky is a good ultimate from Jed, and another good ultimate just back from Adlers. But it looks like Half Guy is the target. Stoinis will manage to pick up that kill, but Rex does get flicks on the back end. Jed's a little bit low here, but Crimson Knight's in a good position. They just need to take down Rex. It's the main damage, but he does go to the sky. The really handy thing about that Ram is that Astral Barrage. Stoinis doesn't use the ultimate, will fall down to PH. As Abs is now the target as well. A little bit low, manages to pick up Invictus, but you have to think Abs is going to fall here. Maybe just a little chompy from the Cerberus. We'll finish off that kill. Maybe a little bit of ghastly breath. Yeah, I said chompy because he's a dog and he bites, and I was like,
yeah,
hey,
he's got the chomp, he's got the bite.
He's got that dog in him, bro. Is that proof? Chompy got that dog in him?
Dude, I wish. Not quite. We saw how I crumbled in the top of the table clash against the Pie. Did not have that dog in me to pull it out. But no, Nuxel there actually. There was a bit of a assassin 1v1 there. And Nuxel, as Agni, able to dash in there and help out in the 1v1, but also live. He was basically an Agni on the front line there. But Rex and the boys turned their attention to the rest. I think Flix was the one to fall to those Rama basics early on in that fight, while Half Guy was dying on the other end. But yeah, just a tier 2 falling there now in Married Men's favor. Just a lot of that map state going back to in their favor again. Like we said, they've got the double Hunter that they had last game. The only thing they're missing is that big mage. So like you were beginning to allude to with the Cerberus ult, they don't really have a lot of good follow-up off it, whilst it is a good beads burner. In that scenario, it didn't get any beads, but it is usually a good beads burner. But there is no follow-up to come off it, so yeah, these hunters, they're still going to burn objectives like that, and that mid-tier 2 is definitely a really strong safe haven to have to rotate to either a gold or a fire. But Adlar's here getting a bit of attention his way, but his team's hiding over the blue buff, and he's going to be relatively safe there, just using his Cerberus ult to stay put. I don't think Half Guy's going to try and do anything here. I think they're going to let that tier 1 fall down.
Yeah, Adlers is, you are right. He does just kind of focus more on the beads burning here. I think he doesn't have a great deal of follow-up for the Stygian Torment, but he does have 2 large CC ultimates out of Half Guy and out of PH. So by him just kind of using Stygian Torment on cooldown, forcing beads, he should be allowing for Tusky to run through, for, you know, that last breath to come through. Hopefully just helps the team a little bit more. Even if he himself might not be getting these big hero plays, he is helping his team out just by, you know, trying to shred the beads every now and then. Unluckily for him though, he hasn't quite managed to find the beads. No one on the Knights wanting to use the beads.
Yeah, good patience, honestly, from Knights, knowing that there is not really a lot of follow-up. Like, these Hunter basics are going to hurt, but they're going to hurt all game, regardless of if you get hit or not. But Stoinis with good pathing there. He's got the Magi's as well. He's going to be able to last through that Tusky. Good pickup there. I mean, pretty hectic, just stepping up. There's no tower there. He's just doing his normal business through the jungle, but Stoinis was there ready to punish him like that. Still got the beads and Aegis up for next time, but using that Tusky to try and live, and with that Magi's up now from Stoinis, it's going to be hard to stop him really with just that one Tusky. So good little pickup there from the Crimson Knights.
Yeah, just want to point out that Magi's was available for that. The Tusky didn't Didn't eat the Magi's.
It
Yeah, the
didn't?
Magi's what the entire time. Yeah, I was also very
Oh.
confused when it happened in game.
I
Yeah,
just
not sure
assumed.
whether or not it was because PH died before Tusky. I know that Tusky hit Flicks first. Not sure if they killed PH before it could get the Stornus. Not sure if Tusky itself died. But either way, Magi is still available, so nothing really used.
Well, I lied, but it would have been good regardless because the Magi's was there. That's kind of crazy. Maybe Flicks killed it with basics because after Tusky dashes once, you can start to damage it. So
Yeah, that's what
yeah, who
I'm
knows?
thinking.
But
Maybe
yeah,
either way.
yeah. I mean, good little pickup there. Not too much to be had there. They didn't get a Pyromancer or a Fire Giant, and Pretty Hectic is back alive now. No Tusky for a few more seconds, but he does have. Oh, never mind, it's back up now. But no beads and Aegis were used, so he's still relatively going to be safe here in these fights. Flick's the only one really with something down. Both junglers have their blinks down, but he's got beads down and his ultimate down, so he's could be a target here for the Adlars. Massive Zerber assault, like we said, but a good Yemoja ult to separate the fight out a bit. And Adlars is actually going to fall first, but a great Khepri ult to pull him back out. And Rex is just throwing in damage on the backline here. No focus on him. Jed and Flick's going to fall. Stoner's going to get a trade, but Rex with a triple kill now onto the Agni. Stoner's going to die to that tick damage from the Circuit ult. Great work from Adlars and Invictus to really bait a lot of the attention away. Adlars getting that Khepri ult to keep him alive. Abspro now going to fall on the backline there. No escape from them. But yeah, so much attention was wasted there on the two tanks that Rex Forever just got to chunk through that fight. No attention on the Rama. He was rolling into the backline. He still got his ultimate up. He was just throwing basics for free, really. And wow, look at that graph.
Yeah, real up and down game from the looks of these drafts, both XP and gold wise. Is you good point. Rex is just kind of able to free cast here. Atlas is doing such a good job on the service. Again, he keeps blinking in with the Stygian Torments, and no one is beadsing. I'm pretty sure he got both Flicks and Nuxel there. Obviously, Flicks didn't have the beads; he'd already used it. I think maybe from Tusky a little bit earlier. Nuxel electing to hold onto those beads. So poor Atlas is making all these hero plays, getting multiple people with these Stygian Torments, and no one wants to use the beads on him, and they're paying the price for it.
That's the problem as a Guardian solo laner. They don't give you the respect. You just do your job. You do actually everything for your team, and you won't get any of the praise at the end. But I've actually really enjoyed Adlars in both games so far, at least. Definitely maybe a contender for MVP in my books if the set continues to go towards Married Men after that game one. And to be honest, this is the first time. I mean, that graph has been up and down, but I feel like Crimson Knights have kind of been in control of this game a lot of the time with kills and gold. So definitely a big swing there for Married Men, getting 4 kills and a Pyromancer and Oni Fury, and they got the Beacon too. So the Titans are now once again going to be marching down left lane. They've got 5 members strong with that FG. This has been a massive swing for them, and we can't discredit Rex Forever being 8-0 there in mid lane.
Yeah, that's a great point. He is Ram very hard to kill. He has just sold the starter item, so he's almost completely full build here. Leagues ahead of everyone else in the game right now, besides maybe PH, who just needs to upgrade the starter item. Actually, I've just noticed it's got a charge
the
throw in
Obo.
there. Yeah, I've just noticed that as well. So either way, leagues ahead of anyone else in the game build-wise. So I think this game really is going to come down to Rex, how well he can position, how much damage he can put out. No, I think that he is really the game winner here for Married Men.
I actually think it comes more down to Crimson Knights and how much they can punish Rex. I mean, he's literally just rolled in there. He's taken a lot of damage, and the Khepri is going to come save him. So once again, just Khepri cringed on him, but Stoiner's going to blink in there with the Kali ult very early. Tusky's going to come out too, and Pretty Hectic's going to fall early. Abspro getting on the backline there, trying to get Rex Forever, but he's going to be able to dash away to safety. Half guy relatively weak as well, and another massive Surbolt there coming out, but Adlars is beginning to fall. Abspro shredding those protections with that 3, just dashing around. Seems like a really good fight for the Crimson Knights. Stoinis isn't even in there right now, and he's just going to be able to jump over the wall for free. Nuxel coming back in to put out that damage. Really good pick off in the jungle there. I think that all started with the Yemoja 3. Trust me, I've been there as well as a Rama. You click to roll one way and it rolls you the other way because of some weird displacement. I think the Yemoja 3 displaced him and made him roll inwards. However, the whole time that fight was happening, the Titan was able to get the tier 2, but honestly a really good swing there for Crimson Knights. I feel like at the start of the game they were more in control. Married Men did a really good job to pull it back in, but another great fight for Crimson Knights to pull it a bit more back in their favor and try and even this game out a little more.
Yeah, look, I think you said it about 10 seconds before that fight happened. It wasn't so much about what Rex can do for Married Men, it was more about can the Crimson Knights punish him, and that's exactly what they did in that fight. You know, they caught him in the jungle, got him down real low, ultimate use from the Khepri really early, and then just catching him. I think he went for a little bit of a roll. Stoinis was sitting on a rock. waits for him, sees that roll go down, know that there's no ultimate, blinks in. That's an easy kill. It's a big shutdown bonus as well for the jungle.
Nukes falling really low there from Tusky, dashing after him to that long range, and Flick's going a bit ham here. He's been frontlining a lot in these fights. I don't think it's the best case scenario, but just really trying to punish that Artemis and get her down while she can. Stoinis able to clean that one off, and Nuxel, those long range bombs done really well, but that Contagion's not going to let him back, and unfortunately Carly couldn't get the reset off with that ultimate. She's going to fall on that backline. Snipes off the mark, but doing a good enough job to zone Jed back into danger for Half Guy to clean up. Maybe a bit of an overextension there from Crimson Knights. I think they won that fight pretty handedly, but that was kind of just to even the game back out, and they've gone for that tier 2 push. Maybe just a bit too early. Like, there's a Pyromancer up, and there's other things they could have probably been doing.
Yeah, definitely a bit too overzealous there from the Crimson Knights. I'm not too sure. I think once again Rex just pouring out a little bit too much damage. Looks like the Married Men are gonna pull the Crimson Knights themselves and look to run it down left lane.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, and then one of those graphs is so up and down choppy. This is a lot of what this game has been. It was the blink onto Nuxel. Aegis used roll in from Rex. Half still has the leap, does manage to get the kill. Abs is still doing his best here. Good double stun just to get Rex a little bit low. Flix is coming in. He might be able to defend this Phoenix, especially with Rex looking at Abs instead of the Phoenix.
Yeah, Rex not focusing on the objective there. Probably the call was to try and just stay alive, maybe pick off a few kills there like they did with Nuxel, but Abs Pro too tanky to fall there. I think if you're the hunter, you should just really be looking at those objectives. Now he's just frontlining again. The Capriole is going to come out to give him that movement speed and get him out, and possibly the revive if he got low enough. But with Crimson Knight spawning there, once again, a bit too much of an overstay. They're lucky not to get punished even worse for what they just did. But all three big objectives coming back up now. That Phoenix only really falling down to half health. Half Guy with a good pick onto Nuxel as well, but maybe just a bit of an overstay. I think something I briefly touched on, I think Flix is going to be really important in these fights. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but on that Beacon fight a long time ago, he was frontlining for his team, and then just then he was frontlining at the tier 2 tower. He's doing so much damage. He's top of the damage charts. If he gets caught out in these bad positions, it can be really bad for the Crimson Knights. I think this game's kind of on him to stay alive. He needs to be the one to put out the damage so that the Cutler can really come in as that kind of backseat gamer and just kind of clean up all the stuff at the end. So we'll see. I think, yeah, briefly mentioned as well, I think this game really comes down to Crimson Knights and how they play around Rex forever and how he's kind of free casting. With this Capriole down for a little bit, it could be a good time to punish with all three big objectives. Well, Pyromancer's just fallen, but...
Yeah, great insight there, Chompy. Yeah, really good point. Flix has been frontlining just a little bit. Is top of the damage charts. Could also be because he is constantly in there. As Abs has just forced out the Tusky and looks to take the cavalry charge away. Oh, Tusky manages to go to Jed, and Jed's like, here you go. Gives it straight over to Flix as a dash comes out from Nuxel. Abs half health. I think he does have the teleport. He can come back in. Stoinis just electing to push waves in mid. Just maybe see if he can get a bit of attention, which has worked. Two people from the Married Men have come over from the jungle, and that has given Abs time to get back into this fight. And it looks like it is just more of a dance around this EFG, and this is too valuable of an objective to let go. Good taunt just to stop that tower assault, but Invictus could be in a bit of a bad spot here. But Abs is the one taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, damage going both ways. I think we're seeing a lot of relics coming back up as well. Most across the board, bar a few in solo lane and an Aegis on Agni there, and ultimates for the most part coming up across the board as well. Just pretty hectic, losing out on that Tusky there, and two ults on the other side that are just about to come back up. As I'm talking, they both came up, so Adlar's getting a bit out of position here. No Capriole around. He's jumped to safety, but Stoinis going to hunt him down. Meanwhile, Abs Pro ulting him like Guan Yu Horse on the backline to try and keep the rest of the team out, and a massive Yamo drop to funnel them into that hallway there, but the Capriole now comes out onto Artemis. Ram up in the air though, trying to pick off Stoinis. Good jukes there. I think he hit 2 of the shots, but not quite enough to end Stoinis' life there.
Yeah, a good bit of healing as well. The Yamoja 2 really coming in clutch. A bit of health, a bit of shield. Does keep the Kali alive. As it's a good pick on Adlers. They've now got 35 seconds in a bit of a power play in a 5v4 here. They do have to wait, however. The Kali is coming back out of base. But Married Men might be looking to just give this up. There's no Rama ult to steal. This could be a Crimson Knights EFG. This could be the swing that we've been looking for, Chompy.
So kept back too, so if they're going to pull it now, they have to, but it looks like they need to take the fight. I don't think they have the burst damage to do it fast enough, especially with Kali backing, so that Capriole's down. Great time to punish him. Those slows coming out deadly there from Abs Pro, and Flix is just shredding through, but taking a lot of damage back from pretty hectic there on the Artemis. Those basics are critting through with that fail not out online as well. I think just maybe a bit of a reset.
Really good damage coming out of PH though. Has sent Flix. He essentially TKO'd him. You know, Flix has to go to base here. There's a lot of healing for Crimson Knights, but the amount of time it's going to take for Abs and Jed to get Flix back up to full health, it's maybe a little bit quicker just to reset. Invictus is still dead for another half a minute, so it's just going to take a little bit of this left-hand farm, trying to get the Marriedmen's attention away, or trying to look for a good flank here as Abs just hanging around to make sure that Marriedmen can't pick up the Fire Giant. Everyone on Crimson Knights have elected to back. They're coming into base now. A couple full health bars, and Victor's up in 14 seconds. If they want to go for this Fire Giant, they're going to have to do it quick.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to look across the board here. Gold slightly in Married Men's favor, but build-wise, apart from the support there, we've got a lot of even builds across the board. Everyone's level 20. Gonna be a very even fight here, and we do have Pyromancer slightly on the coming back up too, which could be a good way to back off here, because it looks like the teams are just trying to bait in each other and look for the fight. No one's really keen on pulling this Fire Giant. I think both teams have just as much right to it and very easy to steal from both sides. So Kepri dashing in there, he's going to have the Phantom Shell to help him out finally of that Yemoja ult, but still a bit out of position there. Abs Pro can try and ult in there, but those Hunter basics are shredding through him. He's getting crit up there. Seems like a bit of a split fight here from Crimson Knights, but they're just going to run away here. We could see Married Men just pick up this Pyromancer that was coming back up, and if we look across the board at the minion state, it is kind of in Married Men's favor, so we might have to see someone back soon from Crimson Knights, but the fight is still going here.
Yeah, Half in a pretty precarious position, but Rex has just rolled in. As we can see, both of his relics are down. Flix will get that kill. Stornis is in the backline. PH goes down, but it's another good Scarab's Blessing, and Stornis gets away with no health. Adler's also no health.
They jump the same way.
Yeah, they go the same way. Adler's looking for a little bit of chase here, trying to get the kill himself. Nuxel does get in range. Good flame wave, good damage. Stornis is the one who manages to pick up that
Good
kill.
kill
Bit of a lash. And
that's the kill secure right there. We love to see that. Something big from that fight. Sorry, you finished up.
I was just gonna say that's a 2-for-0 trade, and Fire Giant should be on the cards now.
Yeah, definitely. Carly just having to back there. Half guy recently backed and full health again coming in for a bit, but like we said, Rex Forever rolling in there. Flix easily punishing a rolling in Rama. You shouldn't be able to do that. Half guy's just going to try and waste a bit of time here, but jumping straight into Abs Pro's path here. Fire Giant now down to half health. Yemoja getting a little bit weak, but they've got good damage on it. They can keep pretty hectic out. I don't know if Half Guy can really steal this. Maybe if he gets a good taunt off this, Agni's bombs should be raining in. Half Guy going to fall to the Cernan ult. Stoinis picking up kill on pretty hectic there, and another on Invictus. That is a deicide in the end, and that's a five-man team Fire Giant strong. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean.
We know what
Very
you mean,
good win there from Crimson Knights. Great for team fight there to really bait in Married Men and get both the objective and the kills.
This is an EFG, so that Phoenix will go down. No need for minions. They have a lot of healing, a lot of ultimates. This could be a game end here, Chompy.
Yeah, we are 36 minutes in. I didn't even realize I'm having so much fun. This game went so quick. That Phoenix went down quick. Massive Surbolt and huge damage from Rex Forever there. Lots of low health bars, but Stoinis able to get that Kali ult off, I'm assuming, or he just got very lucky by the time that Flix and Nuxel had killed that Titan, that he gets to live there. But wow, that was 36 minutes? Crazy. That Fire Giant, that EFG just shredding down that Phoenix, and
yeah, time flies when you're having fun, Chompy.
Yeah, Crimson Knights able to just walk right in and end that game off. Really good fight from them then.
Yeah, really turning this into a bit of a barn burner set as Crimson Knights level the playing field here. It is 1-1 now. We will be going down to a bit of sudden death as Rex Forever just 10-2-5 on this RAM. You know, only missed out on 2 kills on his team. You know, really showed up here. Did a lot of damage. Did get a bit of free casting. But at the end of the day, even when you're free casting, you still have to hit those, and Rex definitely did that.
Yeah, he was hitting strong, but I mean, Flix out damaged him. He was getting to cost just as much. I think rolling in there on that RAM was the only real mistake he made, and that was just the fight that really swung the game out of balance. I think, like we mentioned, the way that game was won was by Crimson Knights getting onto Rex, not Rex really, not the other way around, not just how they can protect him. So I think it's a good fight. I think we're seeing why these teams are both battling it out for third. It's a very even matchup. Like, there's a reason they're both on the same amount of points coming into this. They're two teams that, you know, really deserve to be up there and are fighting for that highest spot they can get. And yeah, it makes sense that it goes to a 2-1.
You know, I just want to point out, PH, maybe not the most fancy slash line there with the 110 and 8, did drop 40k damage, which is still very impressive. You know, second highest on his team, third highest in the lobby behind the other 2 hunters. So A bit of a roughen, but still did really well just to provide his team with a bit of CC and a bit of damage. So shout out to the little bit of the forgotten hunter
Yeah,
that game.
KDAs always don't always tell the story. I mean, it is bad to fall 10 times, but a lot of them was just because his tower was gone early, and Stonus had the good side of mind there to go punish that Artemis who has a relatively lack of an escape. I know all her abilities help her escape, but no real big dash or leap or anything like that. So good punishing from them. I mean, it's very impressive to see someone who is 1 in 10 still have such impact on a game, but it kind of just seemed like in every fight we talked about, no matter how many people from Crimson Knights lived or died, when we looked across to Married Men, Pretty Hectic was kind of always the one to fall first. I don't know if that's due to just um, him not being the first target that the Kepriot gets used on, but being the secondary one afterwards or something like that, or just a positioning thing. But sometimes you get left to the wayside, and I honestly would not be looking at that scoreline as anything bad because he was still able to output so much to his team to help out. Just I mean, all of them dying at once was the real problem around that EFG. Nothing that he did personally really let down the team. So, just I
Yeah,
think good fight from Crimson Knights, and yeah,
yeah, I agree. I think it's very similar to a Zeus, where as long as you get all your damage off, it doesn't really matter if you die in the fight. So I think that was kind of the motto that PH was living by that game. Is we are going to head into game three here. I'm not too sure if we need another break before we start this. Chompy, how are we feeling?
I think we might just do it just to be safe. I think
It's
a
probably
break's
a good
always good
idea.
to have, but yeah, look, like we said so far, these sets have been so even. I think both games have been won not off mistakes from players, just based on teams having a little bit of a map state and stuff like that. Obviously, there's bound to be some mistakes in a game, but I think yeah, these games have been really even and really close, and it's going to be a really exciting game three to see who can come out on top here. But I think before we get into that, we might just throw over to a quick break. We'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
No, they're all pre, so it's you only get. Yeah.
Yep. Hello guys, welcome back. We are here with Smite OCL. This is Married Men versus Crimson Knights. Game two has finished. Crimson Knights have leveled the playing field here. It is 1-1. We are going into sudden death. I am Lath. I'm joined here by Chompy again. And let's get straight to picks
You.
and bans.
As we see though, similar to game two, and I think game one as well. I think Crimson Knights have been order side all 3 games, but Married Men after their loss actually choosing that second pick. Honestly, like we talked about last time, there's positives and negatives to both, but Married Men obviously preferring that second pick.
Yeah, and what are you thinking here, Chompy? If you're married men, are you changing up anything? Are you trying to get the same stuff again? What are we looking to ban here?
I think the double hunter has been relatively good for them. I think maybe just at the end there was a bit of just poor positioning or something like that to really just swing that game out of hand. I think I similar to game one with Crimson Knights, I don't think they did anything particularly massively wrong during the drafting phase or anything like that. It was just the way the game went. But I like to see the adjustment that they have made, at least getting rid of that Ganesha, which was a big part of it. I don't really see Married Men doing anything differently. I think a problem that we did touch on a lot as well was that Cerberus with the ultimate having no mage follow-up. Maybe the Circuit wasn't the play with the double hunter. Maybe some sort of big damage that you can have either out of the jungler or out of the mid laner, or even
Maybe
like a
like an
soul
Anubis
or
jungle, do you
something.
think?
I mean, Anubis jungle, Hebo jungle, Giannis
I'll
jungle. I don't know,
consume
anything,
every
any
last
mage. Like
one
I
of
just have a
them.
mage on your team, I think. But Marticarus now this time the Kali getting banned. I definitely think the Kali was a problem, especially in those late fights. So maybe a good readjustment back to game one there. But you're always going to leave something open. In this game, it's Marticarus. This is your team, so I know you're going to know the answer, but any idea if that's going mid or ADC, do you think, Lath? Or
The
Uh,
wall returns to
it's an
this
interesting one. I
land.
think Matikarus is mostly picked in double hunter comps. A lot of the time, he will be going mid, maybe even like sometimes the mage ADCs. I know Oleron has been seeing a little bit of play lately. Soul as well, but with the Agni pick there, it's probably safe to assume that that will be a Matikarus
right?
ADC and an Agni mid.
Yeah, definitely similar draft from last game. Obviously, just trading out the Kali for the
Tremble
Marticarus.
beneath the waves.
And similar to that on the other side, Married Men, going back to the Ram, it was very strong, it was very potent. Maybe it will be in the ADC lane this time, we'll never know until I'm not going to speak too soon this time, but I'm going to assume that tier is going to be pretty locked in that solo lane. And are we going to see the Anubis again? Is this what you were alluding to?
Wise
The Anubis
choice.
jungle returns again, or at least I'm going to assume that Mirex could play this,
It
but
could be an Anubis mid. We never know. There is a Ram out, and I think it'd be pretty silly to not give that straight back to Rex after the game he had in game number 2.
definitely. The Circuit getting banned now on this side. Still a strong assassin for this time. She's definitely seen a drop off in play a little bit, but strong to have. And it's good against an Anubis and good against that healing kind of comp out of tier and Anubis. So not a bad ban away there. The Arnher ban. I don't know who that. I think Rex played that. Maybe Crimson Knights are confident versing that Artemis, but you probably will see pretty hectic swing back that way if he's liking the gods so much. I mean, even if he did go 110, maybe that's enough of a deterrent for him. But
I
we'll
mean,
see.
even with the 110, he still did a lot of CC and a lot of damage on that Artemis. So, it could be a bit of a risky one to play. No Kali this game to kind of run the Artemis down with the Baka and the Circuit also banned. Baka has a relatively good time into Artemis, so maybe that is what they're looking for here. It is the Athena as the final ban. Rex has played this one a little bit. I'm not too sure if he's played it lately, but against a team that does so well of getting around the map
May
together,
your
it
burdens
could be a
not
pretty
hold
good
you
ban as
back.
it is the Atlas, which should be in the support role with that tier already locked in.
Yeah, definitely. Athena always a good god to have on a team. Like the taunt will always be a good ability, and that global ultimate for that rotation
You
on a
are
team like Married Men
finished.
could be really beneficial with their clear communication, their good team chemistry. So not a bad ban away there. Atlas, similar to game one, we're seeing a bit more Atlas gameplay, which is I love the god, but definitely a
Our
good pick
deeds
up
shall
there.
be written
Could
in legend.
do really well at punishing this mid carry combo from Crimson Knights. So definitely not a bad pickup and a double warrior draft at the end there for Crimson Knights.
Yeah, double warrior draft. You'd have to assume it's going to be the Achilles going into the jungle with the Guan Yu in the solo lane.
I've got my
Guan
eye
Yu,
on
relatively
you.
good matchup in a tier, as long as the Taillow Assault's going off. And I think even the dash as well, he is knock-up immune, so tier can't really do much disruption in the way of Guan Yu, as the Hoi Yi is the final pick. So Hoi,
Yeah,
we have to assume Hoi Yi ADC here, Ram going back in the mid lane with
yeah, that would
Anubis in the
be
jungle.
my assumption too, but definitely an interesting pick. I know in terms of Marticarus, you can obviously, if you have the mark of the Golden Crow on someone, you will be able to see them in the grass, but you can't put the mark on someone if they're in the grass, if that makes sense. If they're already in the grass, you
Yep.
can't put the mark on them. But you can definitely see them when they go in there. A good thing that Marticarus does, especially you'll see it a lot in this late game fight, you can use that grass for a bit of anonymity around these objectives or or Phoenix's Siege's defenses. You never know if someone really is in there, so could be good in that regard. But it's also just a pretty safe hunter. Maybe more of a comfort pick as well for pretty hectic. He is an old-timey player. He's been around for a long time, so he plays a lot of those older gods that came out earlier on in Smite's life. So, yeah, it could just be a comfort thing.
Yeah, it could just be electing not to go to the Artemis again. Is that the way you clear with Mighty?
Yeah,
the other way?
It does tick damage, so you want it to pull it across into it, get that blue stone ticking as much as possible. You can do it either way. It doesn't really matter.
Very interesting. There's a bit of a different look for the duo lanes here. Obviously, we've seen the Artemis for Married Men twice now. We've seen the CERN in game number 2. It would be great if I remember what they played in game number 1. But I'm not too sure who wins. You'd have to assume that
Which
with
team,
this Mighty clear.
Your team?
Yeah, what was the ADC in game 1?
It was Atlas and...
Oh no.
Jesus Christ, we're awful.
Oh dearie me, is Nuxel taking
no.
a lot of damage
Oh,
and
no.
he will fall to Rex.
2 games in a row. Nuxel learning nothing from last game, dying again to those Ram astral arrows. Just slowing him down, not being able to get back to tower. Something we didn't mention, yeah, Nuxel playing Agni again back into the Rama. Even after he got solid, he did win the game, so maybe liking that matchup a bit, but...
Yeah, good start. That is a great point. So far, being solid by the enemy mid does have a 100% win rate in this set, so looking good for the Crimson Knights. We can call it GG, end the game here. Because, unfortunately though, the Anubis hands, the slow, the damage, the spray as well from the Plague of Locust is a little bit too much. And Nuxel does fall to first blood there.
No respect coming out of the mid lane. He's already died once and he's doing it again. Agni is not the safest mage, but he does have that dash. He should be relatively safe. Maybe just overextending a bit. Overvaluing his damage a bit too much on those minions and getting caught up too high. But, you know, no harm, no foul. Like we saw last game, the kill was good. Also, the pretty hectic and Rex for everything is meant to be flipped, but that's okay. Try not to focus on that too much. That was a kill in mid lane, not in duo lane if you're looking at the bottom there.
Oh yeah, it's too bad that these are recorded and so the cameraman can't just flip it. But here we are, these things happen.
Sorry. But yeah, another early spill in mid, but as we saw last game, that didn't really punish Crimson Knights too much, so let's see if they can maybe do something different this game, Married Men, or if Crimson Knights are going to do the same thing, not let that get their spirits down and stay in the game.
Yeah, it's not letting Nuxel's spirits go down as he does step up in mid a couple of times here. He is trying to look for that 1v1 against the Ram. Probably not the most ideal of matchups. Does have a stun over him as Half and Rex posturing towards Stoinus here. Both level 4 here. The jungle for the Knights still in level 3. Probably doesn't want to take that fight a little bit too early.
Yeah, and speaking of Stoinus there, looking at the jungle matchup, I think you're relatively happy as an Anubis here. You don't have that out-and-out assassin that can just hunt you down and punish you straight away. Not saying that Achilles can't do that though. With that stun, he can definitely still catch out the Anubis. But maybe this Anubis can probably get away with a little bit more than expected, just with the kind of matchup that he's gotten into. He will definitely be doing a lot of the same thing he did in game 1 and what Stoinus did in game 2, where he's just looking to kind of hyper farm up, get late game. He's already got that tier 2 Doom Orb online, so he's got a bit of movement speed. And something to keep an eye out for that happened in game 1 is he did go for those rotations a lot. So if Crimson Knights are better at scoping out those rotations and staying alive, he actually probably fall a little bit more behind. Bit of
dash caught from Rex. Bees used as well. Does get low. Both the beads and the ultimate used. Ram does take to the air. It's a good little blink in from Stoinus. Gets a couple of big cooldowns there and decided not to chase under the tower.
Yeah, it did fall into execute range, but by the time a human could react to that, Rex was already ulting him in the air, so I think he gets away with it there. And also no use diving a tower this early in the game, but Stoinus now trying to fight for these mid camps here. Nuxel and Rex kind of hovering around the backside there, but Half Guy's still looking pretty hungry. Gonna just return to mid, but Nuxel stepped up a little bit. Hopefully he doesn't get caught out here. He does dash pretty early and the Anubis ult comes out, but that's not doing a lot of damage early on. Really relying on those Ram autos, which are not going to be enough to take him down.
Yeah, and luckily they just got the Astral Barrage off the Ram not 30 seconds earlier, so no Ram ultimate to follow up. It is the death they used for the beads out of the Agni. Have to assume he probably just took the wrap and the hands. Had to try and get out of that. Good juke shoes though, just to stay alive. Deathgate is not really doing a lot of damage just yet. It's more in the scaling coming late in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Not too much to punish off there. As we look across the board, a little bit of a gold lead for Married Men, but they obviously do have that first blood that's helping them out. We're sort of seeing the first items come across the board. I don't know how much we haven't really talked about it, and I don't know what they've built in previous games, but we have seen the supports both go for a Thebes here. Have we seen any cloak rushes or anything from supports, or have
I know in game number 1 it was double Thieves, as hang on, Fatal Strike does come out. Stoinis
big
picks
kill.
up half guy in the jungle, chases after Rex here, but hang on a second, Riversbeard comes out, and that grab from Atlas does throw Stoinis underneath the tower, and there was a big chunk of damage from the tower shot, and Rex gets the last order win and gets the last laugh.
Yeah, great emoji roll and Riptide to keep Rex in there, but he was able to get out in the end eventually. And yeah, Invictus doing a really good job there, punishing that Achilles who... Oh, he swapped it.
Oh, he swapped it. Did he swap
punishing that Achilles that has no beads, so really getting a good pull on him while his ultimate was down, no CC immunity, just throwing him into that tower so early on. Really good trade there, but a good pick onto half guy too. Trying to punish this Anubis I think is a good way to go around it, but he's already back on the map and hidden Jed again, who's going to be fine. He's going to get out relatively easily.
Anubis Wrap comes out with no real follow-up as, hang on a second, Rex has rolled in, Death Gaze comes out, Jed does have the juke shoes, manages to somehow get out, but hang on, Ram has gone to the air, does manage to pick up Jed.
Oh, wow.
But I think Stoinis is in the backline here. Good double stun as we go away from the fight, but it doesn't look like anything else happened anyway.
It looked like Stoinis was leaving anyway. That Ram was doing a lot of damage there. The fact that Nuxel almost fell as well, kind of crazy. I thought Jed was able to get out there. I thought he would. Oh, don't die to the red buff, Nuxel. I thought Jed was going to be safe himself, but the fact that Nuxel almost died as well, he's just going to have to bait around this red buff because he's a little too low there. The team coming out to help him, he's just going to do that green buff at the same time, or... Oh no, the green buff's down. I don't. He's just having a good time with his low health, but he will get it eventually. But yeah,
Red buff proving to be a quite a formidable foe for Nuxel as he does manage to get a bit of help from his support just to heal him up a little bit, and does take the fight, does get the kill, and he gets the buff as the reward.
yeah. Something he did last game as well was getting that coin, so it will be interesting to see. He got it first last time as well. I don't know how quick he stacked it because of those early spills he took last time, but we'll see. It's definitely an interesting item to get online, that movement speed, or I think the other side just gives power, but I could be wrong. But yeah, just trying to stack that coin up while he can. Agni definitely a really good god to do that. These bombs are going to be shredding and doing so much damage, but it looks like his team's leaving him on the backline here. Going to have to beads that Atlas, and Rex is just throwing those basics out. No Astral Barrage up right now, but bit of a split fight here with Halfguard distracting the other two from Crimson Knights.
Yeah, big split fight. Rex manages to roll in on Nuxel, does get the beads forced thanks to that Atlas grab. Does get away with his life though, and Anubis not really losing anything on the other side of it. So if you're Married Men, you're pretty happy here. As hang on, Rex has been caught in, does go to the sky, gets one shot,
shouldn't kill.
gets two shots. Hang on a second, that last shot doesn't quite hit. But that is the Astral Barrage forced. Good ultimate, good River's Rebuke coming from Jed on this Umoja. And
Yeah, decent little trade there. While the game's kind of in this state, I mean, there's shield buffs up. There could be a little bit of a scuffle here with half guy coming across. Pretty hectic, getting aggressive too. The beads are going to get forced and the ultimate both being down, but by the time he lands, the team's going to be close enough. However, he went a bit aggressive with his pathing there, actually, trying to get as much damage out with the ultimate. Flick's going to separate himself away from his two teammates coming in. The Ank's going to come out too here, but Stoinis is going to get punished too. Just going in one at a time. I think Flick's, he did bead, so he didn't have to ult so quickly, but once he did ult, the team, Married Men looked like they were going to let him go, but he actually flew back in there, flying away from the oncoming help, and falling relatively early to that Hoi, just dumping his whole kit on him.
Yeah, it does look like that was a bit of an aggressive death from above. Went back towards the Hui, who was low. We'll put, but the ultimate coming out, those suns being dropped from Hui does make it hard for Stoinis to get into that fight without getting chunked, and just a good rotation from Invictus as well to come with his team just to ensure that they get 2 kills there instead of 1, and Jed just kind of has to leave watching his team die.
Yeah, not too much to do there. And you see now this Hoye is one stack off of finishing Dev's gloves. He's got his Xe online. Rex Forever as well has that Dev's gloves completely stacked, and Flix should now just get that online. I was waiting for that wave to be cleared. So all these stacking items really coming online. The only real big difference you're seeing in terms of stacks is in the support there. Atlas with those kills to help him out as well, able to be fully stacked there, whereas Jed's only on the 37. Not too much of a big issue. He'll have it done soon, but just those little micro wins across the board there for Married Men, who do have 5 kills and 3k, 3.5k gold up. So
Yeah, it's a fairly big gold lead here at 10 minutes. Jed just getting a little bit handsy. Nix will drop on those bombs, getting some good damage as Victor's forced to run away, and the two junglers just kind of beefing it out a little bit in the right-hand lane as the two junglers are topping the damage charts right now, so they are trying their hardest to get a bit handsy early.
That's what you love to see. Blokes being dudes, eh? Bit of a team
Yeah.
fight, and not team fight, solo fight there, but Married Men quickly on the rotation. Great ult there from Umoja, trapping them in, but this Ram's just going to go up in the sky again. Unfortunately, Anubis doesn't have that same freedom to, and he's going to stand still for that ult, so Stoinis has no troubles missing that one. Not going to go into the tier 1 tower there to chase out Rex, but cheeky little pick there. We're starting to see where this Agni can really show his worth there. These bombs up every like 10 seconds or so, just getting so much value off that big ultimate, but pretty hectic now. Catching out Flix on the back camps there, trying to get a bit more extra farm. He's got to try and get away, but these jukes are great, and good trade to the ult. Flix did really well there to stay alive. Really good jukes there to avoid that, and really good patience too, holding the ult for the big ultimate there of the Hoye.
Yeah, I think Flix was really trying his hardest to get away without having to use that death from above, and I think PH was trying his hardest to get the kill without having to use the sun. So, you know, both really good plays from the ADCs. PH probably shouldn't be that far pushed up without being punished, but he knows that there was a fight in mid lane. Takes that as an advantage to get a little bit handsy in the duo side.
Yeah, and why not? It's a pretty good matchup. Like you mentioned, there was a fight in mid, so all players were present on the map. If you can try and chase down that Marty, you don't want to let this Marty get late game. It's basically like a mage late game. These abilities hit so hard. As we've already touched on as well, he's doing that Transcendence build, which is the normal build you do for Marty. You should be doing this build, but you really don't want to get him late game, so trying to punish him while you can as that Hoye with that rotation. If you've got time to go to stop those back camps, why not? And we see a Beacon fight here, but both solo laners have made their way across. We've actually got more of Married Men around here right now.
There is good damage coming out from Nuxel here. It's got Rex down to just slightly above half health as it looks like the damage is in the back line. The Fatal Strike doesn't quite make the range. The grab comes out from Victus. Stoinis goes down to PH as Crimson Knights are trying to fight, but it's another good double fearless from Adlers. Pushed him into the wall. That Ray comes out of Invictus, and it looks like this will be their Stygian Beacon. Sun's dropped maybe a little bit late, but no harm, no foul.
Decent. It's not the most, it's a good ult, but it's not that important. Why not just drop it to secure that beacon? But really unfortunate there for Stoinis. I think he was just out of range there, but a massive Umoja ult. These ults have been huge from Umoja to just trap people in, but Ram's too good at getting up in the air to avoid it, and a lovely blink there from this tier. Getting Nuxel just punished there and straight into the ult to punish Flix as well. Ad's probably going to get cleaned up, maybe overstaying their welcome there. After getting the beacon, you thought they'd be a bit weaker, Married Men, but they were able to stay and defend. That tier 1 tower didn't even get touched. There's still a Bastion standing as well, and Jed's slowly going to fall eventually when these abilities come back up. But he can waste as much time as possible. He will be losing the tier 2 tower here as the rest of the team is dead, and Stoinis is elected to just go and farm up, which is definitely the smart play. Oh my god.
Oh, dude, what a ricochet!
What the hell? That was sick. But really good play from Adlars there, just biding his time there after the, I was going to say Bastion, it's Beacon. After the Beacon, that Hoye could have gone huge, but I mean, it worked out well in the end. They were able to clean up that fight really well when Crimson Knights maybe overstayed their welcome a little bit in mid lane.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the call was there to hang around. Yeah, Stoinis goes in for that Fatal Strike, is just slightly short of making it into half, getting the kill and then being able to maybe ult to get away. Does end up just getting picked up, thrown into tower, or further into tower by the Atlas grab. And Crimson Knights electing to hang around a little bit after. I'm not too sure what the call was there, whether they wanted it tier 1, maybe they thought that they had a bit of an advantage with a lot of ultimates being used on the side of Married Men. Hang on a sec. Good damage from PH. Sorry, onto PH. But yeah, unfortunately, I think that is the third time we've seen this set of Married Men just wiping the entirety of Crimson Knights.
Wow, really good damage. He's probably full here. I don't think he gets in the air in time. Yeah, good little pick up there from Flix. You're starting to see where this mage kind of build, this power build coming out from Marticarus is so strong, and why this god is so often banned. Really good solo kill there, getting that damage off onto pretty hectic, and probably will be able to get a tier 1 here. And this whole time, Stoinis has kind of just been split pushing this right lane a little bit. After that, he died early in that fight with that unfortunate ultimate. I think the half guy, Anubis, was in range of the ult, but it just was, in execute threshold, but just wasn't in range of it, falling to that tier 1 tower relatively early, but able to really farm up on that right side, get the 2 bastions down and get half the tower done too. Once again, I mean, they have lost their mid tier 2, but Crimson Knights aren't playing the map too badly for the position they're in.
Yeah, something I want to touch on as well is don't worry, I was handed about it after the set. Crimson Knights have made the adjustment of actually picking up anti-heal. In game 1, they were versing that double hunter Anubis, and there was no anti-heal built. Making the adjustment here, there is a Tainted coming from the Soul Laner. A Brawler's been picked up by the Marty ADC Divine Ruin, and a Brawler's just now finished by the jungle, so a lot more anti-heal should help in these fights against Maribel because of those double hunters. They both have those devos. Tier's got that heal built in as well, plus you've got half as the Anubis, a renowned life stealer.
Yeah, definitely. Anubis should always have lifesteal. I'm pretty sure these days that Obshard tier 2 does build into Spear of Magus as well, so...
It does, yeah, it does.
Yeah, that'll probably have a bit of lifesteal on it. And just, I think he's got a bit of base lifesteal as well, Anubis, so... definitely important to pick up. The one thing I do want to point out is I don't think it's necessary on Flix to have it. I mean, it's always helpful to have, but... Brawlers isn't the most important... Oh, that is very unlucky.
That's tragedy.
That is just unlucky. That Doomor making that Anubis too fast there to get out. But I think there's enough anti-heal across the rest of the team that it's not really necessary onto Flix. He could have got something like a Crusher. Now he has to make the trade between Crusher or Titans, which one he's not going to get. Not saying that Brawlers is a bad item, it's still good to have, but in a perfect world, I think 3 anti-heal items is enough already. So, every other person, 3 other people having anti-heal is enough already. So, not really necessary, but that's just a little nitpick from me. As we see, half guy now rotating across to Joy Lane, but he's already got the Sun's Force down, and he's going to be able to walk in here. No ult for the Marticarus. He is going to try and beads Aegis, but it's not enough, and Jed too late on that rotation. Too much damage coming out of the Anubis Hoyi.
Yeah, really hard to follow up. Once that Marty ult's down, once he can't take to the sky, which it has just now come back up, there's just not a lot he can really do to get away. When you drop those suns on him, get the death gaze, all he can really do is chuck the fresh Nikes on, try and juke, and it didn't pay off as still a scuff in the soul lane. Stoner sitting on the wall. Does go for the blink. Does get the stun off, but
Ab's already
way too low. As the chase is now on, Stoner's not very healthy. Ram does go to the sky. 1 hits, 2 doesn't hit, 3 also doesn't hit. As he will get away with about 15 or so health there.
Abspro just falling way too quickly there. He doesn't even have the trans this time. He's gone full defense, but those Ram basics just shredding through there. Really good there from Stoinis to try and help out, but too little too late, and he actually just gets out by the skin of his teeth as well, with Ram missing 2 of those snipes. Maybe a little bit lucky, and at least for now the tier 1 tower is still standing, but those minions could do a lot of damage even. As we see, maybe a little bit of a Gold Fury grouping coming through.
Yeah, it's probably worth noting there hasn't been a great deal of objectives for this game. Married Man again does have the double hunter Anubis, but in recent mine I can't think of a whole lot of Gold Furies going down. There is a Primal Fury up, which means that 1 has gone down. 1 bomb on the side of Crimson Knights, and I think those are probably the only 2 objectives we've seen so far.
Yeah, not too many this game. Maybe a little just adjustment after game 2, not really going back into that game 1 game plan that they had, but pretty hectic now, trying to run away with Jed on the way out. I'm sure he's been spotted out in some capacity because he's sprinting away. Umodrol going to get the jump, but not the value you were really looking for. I definitely think you could have saved that ult for someone else who more punished by those walls.
Yeah, PH leaping away from the tower, but that leap coming back up before Jed is able to get there and trap him in. So unfortunate use of the River's Rebuke, but otherwise very good usage besides maybe the last 2 from Jed this game.
Yeah, he's had really good ults.
Yeah, finding a lot of good value on this Yamodra as a pyro grouping, but there is a minion chasing Abs. That minion's a little bit of a snitch. We'll let the married men know that he is there. Abs eventually decides to, you know, hit the snitch, get him off the map, and it looks like a Primal Fury call is coming out of the Knights here. Looks like Stonus is trying to zone out PH in the back line, but married men have keyed onto this and they are all rotating in.
Oh, I'm on mute. That is awkward. We are having a little bit of a skirmish here around the Primal Fury. Like you said, it is Primal, which means one's dropped already. Half guy getting very far up on the front line there as an Anubis. He's going to get punished pretty easily, but Flix's ult's going to drop him right back into 3 of them. He can use his relics to buy some time, and Abs Pro's now here on the horse. Going to be shredding down Rex forever. He's going to have to go up into the air. He's got them low. He's going to do some good damage here with the snipes. Already getting one, missing the last shot on Jed. He's going to fall on landing, but Jed also going to fall to the Adlar's gank here now. Pretty hectic back in with dropping the ults, and Nuke's going to get caught out there now. I think there was a bit of a tier push there into the sun, so relatively big fight there. 5 people falling, and Stoinus now coming across with some pretty low health bars. Invictus is trying to stay around to help out, but Abspro is getting chunked so fast, having to beads, I think, there for the Atlas pull. Dropping a bomb as well so it can escape handily, and leaving Stoinus here in a 2v1 more so. Invictus, though, is still hovering around. No Achilles ult here, which is very unfortunate, because he probably could have killed all 3 of them.
Yeah, Abs, he's elected to go full defense, as you alluded to earlier. No trans in the build, but somehow just getting shredded by Rex. He's a level 18 Ram. He's got 4 full items on. He's got that stacked Devos. He's got that stacked Devos. He's got the Ferocious Executioner as well. So the more that he hits someone, the more he's going to get that little passive going, get the extra damage against that target. And from the looks of it, I think he's been hitting this Guan Yu quite a fair bit.
Yeah, just that early damage. I know it's a recording, so we can't change it. We're currently on wards placed, but it would be interesting to see some of the damage coming out. I guess while we are on wards placed, we can see that Jed is steaming ahead with 16 there, but to counteract that, Flix is down the bottom on 0. Not really dropping those wards. I guess he still does have his tier 1, so he's not in as desperate need to drop them as Pretty Hectic is, but it's still important to have that map vision around, especially when this Gold Fury is up.
Yeah, that is a good point. Jed doing his best just to counteract the lack of wards, but PH is sitting on here. And speaking of no wards, PH and Invictus both waiting. This could be a bit of danger for Flix. He doesn't have the beads. The Atlas grab comes out, the ultimate comes out, the Suns get dropped. PH does get the kill, but at the same time, there is a tier 1 being taken on the solo side. As Rex is coming in, I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to stop this. Tier 1 goes down. Crimson Knights are just going to take the little tier 1 win and just fall back.
Yeah, trading tower for tower there, but also Flix falling. Probably, as we mentioned, due to that lack of wards, and this Gold Fury is now going to be up. Anubis clearly in the area too as well, with everything still up. No, in none of those fights there, so going to have his ultimate still up. He's just going to chill in mid lane though and try and distract them, while Pretty Hectic's going to chunk this one down. But Yuxel could get a bit of a cheeky pick here onto Invictus. They don't have the health and damage to do this as quick as they wanted.
Yeah, it does get... Oh, geez, that's a lot of damage from Nuxel. He does drop the double bomb on the half, puts him down to half health, and that is the Primal Fury dropped. Crimson Knights could look at pulling that themselves here. Marty is coming out of base. Abs is in the middle lane. So it looks like they're electing just to fall back. Atlas is pushed up pretty far here. Maybe they could be trying to force a Lawbringer out and then take it into a Gold Fury fight, as it seems like everyone's just going to reset a little bit here.
Yeah, vision control probably going to fall. Oh no, they get 1 each, so no oracles going down. It's going to have to rely on solely the wards that we have, and Invictus looks like he's got more on hand, so maybe looking that way. But Pretty Hectic, going to get a lot of ultimates used on him, but he is going to fall in the end there. Stepping up a bit too much, just trying to do those oracles on his own and getting punished by the rotation from Crimson Knights there. However, they did use 3 ultimates to lock that one down, so they do have the 4v5 fight here to pull this Gold Fury and really take control. It looks like Married Men are maybe going to give it up. The Anubis and the tier looking to go towards the right lane. There is no Pyromancer to trade, but just there's a lot of farm up, so they can do that.
The Astral Barrage though. Nope. Ram does elect to go in to the Astral Barrage, but the Gold Fury was dropped and decided to chase Invictus back to lane here. This has given enough time for those respawners to go off. Atlas, Rex, Invictus, everyone is up here besides PH, but looks like the call is to reset. There will be no Gold Fury done here.
Yeah, Crimson Knights electing to look for the fight. I guess there is still potential from the Rama snipe, but you don't really have to be that scared to drop it completely. I think you can just stop outputting your damage for a bit, maybe drop it for a few seconds. Ram doesn't have an infinite amount of time to sit up there, so definitely an interesting call. And this whole time, Tier's been able to go back to solo lane to push down this Tier 2 tower. Abspro being forced to teleport away as this beacon's come up. Now Tier's going to teleport across by the looks of it. He hasn't moved in a while, so this fight's back in Married Men's favour now. It's going to be a 4v5. They're splitting the map really well, and that Gold Fury not falling for Crimson Knights kind of puts them on the back foot even more than what they already were with this massive gold swing. This beacon's going to go down as well, and Adlar's getting a massive gank out there onto Flix, having to force the beads out, and he's not done. He is so tanky, level 20. He's been able to just be a menace on this backline here while the rest of the team deals with Stoinus.
Yeah, I just want to point out here that Adler's obviously, as you said, was on that solo lane push, forced Abs to TP over, and then Adler's then used the TP himself to get in and behind the Knights on that beacon fight. So really heads up from Adler's, dragged one person away, made it a 4v4 on the thing, and then instantly TP'd in to make it that 4v5. So real heads up from the solo for Married Men.
Yeah, definitely a good play, and Beacon falls again. We're starting to see this game really trail away from Crimson Knights, especially with this Pyromancer that's going to fall, and with the Titans marching down now as well. We've got a, what is it, 7k, maybe 8k, 7.5k lead there coming out. You're seeing the level difference coming through the solo and the support, but also the jungle as well, one level down. But that 3 levels in support and 2 levels in solo kind of being a big one. These tanks so much more potent from Married Men. And since it never went down earlier, they're able to pick up the primal while they wait for these Titans to walk down lane.
Yeah, it looks like Knights are electing maybe to posture around the Fire Giant here. Married Men all grouping up to take out this Titan. As note, it looks like they're going to walk across the map here, and they are going to try and stop this Titan push. Married Men getting on it nice and early to try and wipe out that Order Titan before the Chaos Titan can get in and make it a bit of a 5v6.
They got a full health Titan here. They've also got a tier with 2 bombs, and Abspro's currently up in right lane dealing with an Anubis. So honestly, I think having the Anubis out of the fight is more important than having the Guan Yu out of the fight, I guess. They do lose a lot of their frontline potential without the Guan Yu, but a lot of the mage damage there is gone, so they do have the Titan pushing too. Flix getting forced up into the, not forced up to the ult, but using it for damage to try and get out there. But that Titan's still alive and full health. He's going to be a menace to try and get this fight done. Anubis also leaving Abspro behind, going back to mid lane to try and push that too. I think they're just going to retreat there. They did take a lot of damage, and their Titan did get a free tier 2 there. So interesting fight from both teams, but we see Titan not getting too much use outside of just one tower.
Yeah, that Titan really being a bit of a menace there. Does have a rather chunky health bar and is able just to take the tier 2. I think that's actually the second time we've seen the Titan take the tier 2 off the map in duo lane this set. So Titan really back on his ball this game, and looks like Married Men are gonna take that little bit of win in duo lane and take it over to the Fire Giant and try and get a bit more of a lead here as Atlas has stepped up, catches the shield. Already lost half of his health here, but that is a tier. He's relatively tanky, he's got a lot of movement. He's able to get away healthy, and he does have the TP to come straight back in.
Yeah, no Fire Giant falling yet, I think is interesting. That push was done completely just with the Titan. So there's still this fight to be had, but so much pressure just coming out from Married Men, and with the double Hunter comp, they're looking like they're in control here. Definitely interesting to see how the map's going to be split here. Anubis seems to be away from all these fights, still farming up, still trying to get those cheeky picks where he can. But yeah, Crimson Knights, look like they're in control of this Fire Giant pit, at least for now. But Married Men coming back out of the base now, backing after their little frugal investment out in duo lane.
Yeah, that tier 2 tower is always really nice because you can see here, the minions are walking in. They're going to start hitting this Phoenix. Someone might have to back here from the Knights to stop this. Most likely would be Abs, as he does have the TP. He can come straight back in. But Married Men grouping up, good damage coming out. Oh, really good damage coming out. Atlas has sent it straight into the backline. He's trying to disrupt. The Ram is in the air with the Astral Barrage, and those are 3 easy shots when you've got them pinned into the corner. Really good play from Adler's, as it looks like Stoinus has got super low on the backside trying to counter dive. PH might be able to get this kill, catches the lazy back. That's another good ricochet. My man's got the protractor out this set.
Yeah, great bounce, but a bit of a lazy back there from Stoinus. Nuke's all going to fall down as well. just really greedy from Flix. He got caught on the front line there and didn't beads, and then when he finally got tier pushed, he beads when he was already in the air, getting no value out of it. Just trying to hold on to that for as long as possible, and with that Hunter down, he's been so much of their damage, and leaving Nuxel alone on the back line as an Agni there, getting punished, and yeah, with the jungler falling too, it's not looking too good. It seems they don't even need the Fire Giant, they're just going to push straight down with this map state they've already created for themselves.
Yeah, Atlas has back to base and TP'd in with full health. Abs, we can see the effect of that, the Guan Yu into the Atlas. He can't be pulled during that tower assault, but still not enough to be able to stop them from taking the Phoenix off the map, and now it does seem like it will be the Fire Giant call, and this is good because it's now going to be an EFG.
Yeah, they wasted enough, not wasted enough time, they spent enough time there getting mid Phoenix first as well, which is always good to get a Phoenix while you can, with so much of Crimson Knights being dead. Abs Pro actually teleporting in here. Is there a chance for a steal? He's getting knocked up. He's held up by the Atlas too, and he's going to get held into the wall.
Bro, Fire Giant picking sides there, bro. Fire Giant sees Abs coming, throws the knock up straight on where he's walking in, knocks him into the air as he comes in, straight into the loving embrace of Invictus. Then throws him into a wall.
Yeah, just a bit of like volleyball. He threw him up in the air, and he caught him and just spiked him into the wall of the Fire Giant pit.
Sped him up for a spike, bro.
But just really unfortunate from Abs, but why not go for that attempt? You know Married Men are going to back after the Fire Giant anyway. He'll probably be up after this tier 2 falls down in right, or he might even be able to make it there, but depends which way Married Men seem to go off this map. Left is always important to get, and there's a Gold Fury up, but there's more objectives up in right lane, so looks like they're pathing that way to get those towers off the map. But look, worth an attempt. I think played very well there by Married Men. While the people of Crimson Knights are dead, you might as well get that mid Phoenix, and it spends enough time so you can get that EFG too. Crimson Knights, this could be their last chance. They are falling behind. This EFG is 5 members strong. This tier 2 is going to fall before they can even really get there, and Adlars is on the other side of the map. He has used both bombs, but there is one onto Invictus here, so interesting to see how this one goes down.
Yeah, Invictus is in left. Looks like Flix has elected to go over there to defend that by himself. Probably one of the warriors should be over there doing that, as they may need their Hunter here because he is very good clear. You know, we do have Nuxel here. Agni's so good on base defense with those 3 bombs. He's able to clear the wave really easy, force teams to come in with no waves. I guess they don't really have to worry about backdoor protections here. They do have EFG, don't they? So maybe not the worst. Flix has now made the rotation and looks like it could be a fight. Jed sends himself really a little bit further in, drops the River's Rebuke, and I have no idea what's happening in this fight. Rex gets a double kill. Half picks up a double kill as well, and that is the Deer side, and we have to assume that's going to be game here.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a all-out attempt there. They knew they were in trouble with that mid Phoenix already being down. They've really put everything on the line there. Jed getting picked up early by that Atlas. He did get the emote rolled off, but it was too little too late. Flix then flying in, gave Half Guy the easy path in behind, and T didn't even need to come to that fight. EFG was enough to carry them through that. He was able to split push down that left Phoenix, and the fight gets cleaned up, and Married Men take home the dub.
Yeah, Order Titan doing
victory.
what Crimson Knights weren't able to do, shutting down Rex on the Ram.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely still a really exciting set though. I think there was a lot of back and forth, and there was good from both teams there, but definitely a battle worthy of that final spot in top 3, top 4, as we see them two fighting off with BGF there for those final spots. But definitely a good battle down to the wire. Maybe this last game did fall a little out of their favor, but Crimson Knights still did a really good job. I do see in the chat we have an MVP vote up. Do you have any? I know you were on the losing side of it, but do you have any of the fearsome opponents that you think deserved it more than anyone else?
Well, as the person who had to deal with it, I have to say that Rex was just the most irritating on their team. He was so hard to deal with. I think he went 10-2 both Ram games, had a pretty decent Arnhem game as well. He was just so hard to kill. He put out so much damage, really stayed alive in the backline. I mean, I've got to shout out like Invictus and Adlers as well. Adlers also had a really good game. I'd be pretty disappointed if he doesn't get any votes. You know, his slash lines may not show it, although I do think the Undying 3-0-8 does really show off the impact that he had. He was so hard to kill. He'd kept diving in the front, but I mean, at the end of the day, I still think I have to give it to Rex.
Yeah, Rex, I mean, it's hard to go against those score lines. He was pumping out the damage, but I personally think it was Adlars. I think he had such a good game, really made his presence known in solo lane. Even on that Cerberus game, he was able to be such an influence for his team. And like you said, yeah, you already touched on a few of the other ones, but like pretty hectic. He didn't have the greatest score lines, but his damage was still up there. His impact was still good. In this game, he had a good score line, don't get me wrong, but referring back to the 110 on the Artemis,
Yeah, that
still
Artemis
able
game, yeah.
to still do a lot. And I think Invictus is still so good for this team. I think he's really up there in terms of like support rankings and stuff like that. And you were able to see it. His Ganesha in game 1 especially, so potent. His shell plays really good peeling across the board. I think it was just a good performance, honestly, from both teams, but just a little bit more from Married Men. But Adlars actually takes out the vote. I know he had my vote. I don't know if I'm allowed to vote, but I did
You
vote.
are. You are definitely.
Adlars takes it home the MVP, and I definitely think he deserves it. I think a few of the people on the team did deserve it, but only one can get it. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps us up for tonight. Um, as mentioned at the start of the night, we did have the threats game that we were going to gloss over quickly, with them coming up 2-0 against La Bomba, but now we have Married Men coming up 2-1 against Crimson Knights. Should do some interesting things for the table. And tomorrow we have the other 2 sets. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, yeah. Tomorrow there will be both sets being played. Being casted. Oh, good. We do have the schedule here. It will be Pi versus BGF, which is a game that I'm very excited to watch. I think BGF have been rising in the ranks the last couple of weeks. They had a couple of roster swaps. They had a couple of changes, and they have just been looking really potent. So I'm keen to see how well they go against Pi.
And then the
And
game
then
I'm excited for, Jacked Martins versus Corrupted Crusaders, as they battle out for that 6th spot there. Very exciting. Both teams coming into this week on the same win-loss. So bit of a grudge match battle there. And if Corrupted Crusaders can pull it away and then they get a slacking Pie the next week, they could be in really good shape. I just had a bit of a stroke there. I'm so sorry, but
there,
it
there
happens.
is
I'm 3 games deep.
There's one thing I have to say though, Chompy, in regards to that game that you're very excited to watch. We do have some roster swaps as Cardi GG, who was originally removed from the Jack Martins, then formed the Corrupted Crusaders, has now gone back to the Jack Martins before this set. So maybe a bit of a grudge match there. Corrupted Crusaders trying to get one back over on their old mid laner. The old mid laner trying to prove that it was the right move to go to the Jack Martins. So
I thought you were just going to say they dropped him again. I was, Jesus Christ,
no,
I
no,
can't
no,
handle it.
no.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. I like these little weekly matchups you see that are coming out throughout the OCL table. So love to see these grudge matches, and yeah, I think that's it from us today. Am I right in saying so? I think we're wrapping up now. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you back tomorrow for 2 more great games of OCL to finish out week 6. Thanks so much, guys.
Good night, everyone.